6, Angelo DiBernardo scores a hat trick. 3 big goals to lead the Comets to an 8-6 win over the Stars and a clinching spot in the playoffs. Tonight, DiBernardo will rest that sore ankle that bothered him as the Comets play their final regular season game at home against the Minnesota Strikers. A chance perhaps to pick their opponent with a win tonight in the playoffs. Kansas City Comets Soccer on KCTV5, Kansas City Sports Station. Tonight, live from Kemper Arena, the Comets take on the Minnesota Strikers. Tonight's game is brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Texaco, makers of Haviland Motor Oil and other top quality automotive products. And by the Jones Store Company and Levi, America's favorite jeans since 1850. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Kemper Arena in Kansas City. The Comets wrapping up the regular season tonight by taking on the Minnesota Strikers here at home. For the Comets, they clinched the spot in the playoffs on Wednesday night when we last talked to you. Since then, they have traveled to St. Louis, Missouri, where they lost a heartbreaker to the Steamers in overtime 4-3 yesterday. As a result of that loss, the Comets now have lost the home field advantage as far as the playoffs are concerned. Nevertheless, this is an important game, particularly maybe more so for Minnesota, because the Strikers are going for their 5th straight win in a row, and they've still got a shot at finishing 3rd in the MISL's Eastern Division. To do that would mean they could eliminate the first round of the playoffs and draw a bye and skip the wild card position. Tough loss last night for the Comets. As I mentioned, they were playing without several of their regular players. Down on the floor right now is head coach Rick Benben, who has some thoughts about last night's game and tonight's game. He's with Jack Harry.
Don, 2 things are certain as the Comets head into their regular season finale here at Kemper Arena. Number 1, they will be in the playoffs. Number 2, they will open those playoffs on the road. So to head coach Rick Benben, what is the importance of this game tonight?
Well, I think for us, Jack, that it's just that we want to have a good performance. That we want to hit our last game going into the playoffs, we want to have it be a good one. And also it gives some of the players who haven't been getting a lot of time to see some more action tonight. And I think it's especially important for Damir Haramina to get another game under his belt. If he can come up with the kind of performance tonight and the rest of the season as he had last night, that could be a big factor for us in the playoffs.
The injury factor. You went without 4 frontliners last night. 4 guys will not be suited up here tonight. What does that mean as far as coaching to you?
Well, I think that we've certainly had to make some adjustments, and the players last night responded very well. And tonight we lose Timmy Clark and Boris Bandoff won't be able to play, but Greg Mikowski and Tim Twellman will come back in the team. So we do make a few adjustments, you know, really more so whether Greg Mikowski's playing or not, because when he is playing, he goes forward more coming out of the back. But other than that, you know, we basically do the same things.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Don, of course, coaches never like to admit it. They never like to say we want to play this team over that team in the playoffs. Should the Comets win tonight and they get that number 9 position, then perhaps they could play St. Louis in the playoffs, and I will guarantee you, from an emotional standpoint, the Comets would love to play the St. Louis Steamers in the playoffs. They're happy to be there anyhow. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, you're right, Jack. I think last night the Comets showed they were the better team, even though they lost that game. Remember, Kansas City played without 4 of their regular starters, and they darn near knocked off the Steamers, coming from a 3-0 deficit to finally lose late in overtime. And then, of course, how about last year's playoff series between these 2 teams? It was a real war. So I think everybody would like to see a rematch. Speaking of everybody, everybody will not be on the floor again tonight. As the coach mentioned, Timmy Clark and Boris Bandoff are out. So will Angelo DiBernardo and Charlie Ficus, 2 big keys in the offense. They'll take a rest as well because of those nagging injuries. Coming up, the opening kickoff on Fan Appreciation Night between the Comets and the Strikers right here on TV5. Set to go here at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. Don Fortune and Jack Harry, and nice to have you with us here on TV5. As I mentioned, Fan Appreciation Night. They're expecting over 15,000 to come into this building tonight, and they should see a darn good soccer match, as I think the Comets obviously may not see this game as important for them in the standings, but certainly it's important for them as far as they are concerned and going into the playoffs with some kind of momentum. The Comets, by the way, tonight want to thank Kodak and TV5 as well for sponsoring this Fan Appreciation Night and giving away 15,000 team photos like that one to all of the fans who attended here tonight. Those are good-looking pictures, and they passed out 15,000 of the folks coming through the doors tonight, and nice memento, nice way to end the season. All of us at TV5 certainly happy to be a part of that. Well, we're going to see two of the top goalkeepers in the MISL in action. There is Tino Lettieri in the nets. He has won 10 of his last 13 starts and 24 victories this season. In fact, he's the first goalkeeper to win 24 ever in a season in the MISL. His goals against is 4.38. And you remember, back on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th in Minnesota, he shut the Comets out 3-0. There's Manny Schwartz, now ranked 5th in the MISL in keepers with a goals against of 4.11. His one-loss record is 18-15. He's won 7 of his last 9. If he wins tonight, he will set a Comets record for 19 wins, the most ever for a goalkeeper in a season, breaking Enzo DePede's record of 18 set last year. Okay, we're underway. The Comets in white and the Strikers wearing their red and tan and black road uniforms. The final game of the regular season, the playoffs begin Wednesday. And Jack, I think interesting point, there's something to avenge here. This team shut them out and did a job on them back on March 17th in a game that we televised.
We won't forget that one. It'll also be interesting here to watch the energy level early on, maybe the first 5 minutes of the game. Both teams coming off of back-to-back games. The Comets in St. Louis last night. Minnesota played Wichita at home last night.
Hard shot that time by Ray Hudson, and Manny Schwartz makes his first save of the night, and it's a darn good one. Back come the Comets on the attack. Laurie Abraham's out there with Carlos Salguero. His shot is blocked, and Lettieri grabs it before Salguero could kick the rebound in. You know, you talk about traveling, Jack. I don't think it's a factor, at least not as far as Minnesota's concerned. They flew all the way from Baltimore all night to play the Comets on a Sunday afternoon game.
You're right. Now watch his save right here by Manny. Bats it down right there. This guy's played so well. And how about Enzo last night? I guess he had a remarkable game in St. Louis. 24 saves in that game, goes into overtime.
That's right, and you remember in that March 17th game, which you saw here on TV5, the one that the Strikers shut out Kansas City, DePede had to come in and play in that one in the first quarter after Schwartz was injured.
Now keep your eye on number 11 right there. That's the new man, Damir Jaramillo. We were talking about him the other night in Tacoma. He set up 2 beautiful goals last night for Salguero.
He's quite a player and got all kinds of skills. Here come the Comets on the attack. Makowski, who missed last night's game because he had 20 minutes in penalties and was forced to sit out, in action tonight. Tasso Kousoukas at center for Kansas City. We're just underway in the first period. That's Jaramillo right there, leaving it for Gino Schiraldi. Schiraldi can't get it by Domovic, and the Strikers come back quickly, but Comets will cover up on defense. They almost had a 3-2 developing here. That's Domovic. 3 goals last night and a hat trick. Now Yusian from way outside, and it was blocked by Makowski.
And Yusian has been red hot, something like 7 goals in his last 3 games. I think you hit it right on the head at the top of the show, Don. This game really does mean more to Minnesota, because if they can get that number 3 spot, then they can sit out this mini-series.
They've got a chance to do that. They'd have to win tonight, and Cleveland would have to lose their remaining 2 games this weekend, and that would put Minnesota in 3rd place, and they don't have to go into the first round of the playoffs. They would draw a bye. Now, the Strikers have been hot. When we saw them, they shut Kansas City out 3-0. They have won 10 of their last 14 games. They're going for a 5th in a row tonight. So they are really playing extremely well right now. But so are the Comets, with the exception of that loss in Los Angeles 7-1. They really had a very fine road trip. 12:15 to go, first quarter. That's Collins right there. Number 19, Ben Collins, playing it over into the corner. And Schiraldi will play it back to his goalkeeper, who will come out throwing. Here's Petcher. Comets played last night in St. Louis. And the Strikers played Wichita last night in Minnesota. So both teams had to travel today, but boy, that was really a short turnaround in that March 17th game for them. They had played was a Saturday night in Baltimore, then left immediately after the game, and they were on the floor at 1:30 in the afternoon to play Kansas City. Didn't bother them, did it? They had a lot of wins.
The Comets had just won in Baltimore. Remember that, and maybe they were a little overconfident going into Minnesota and got shut out that day 3-0. By the way, Comets been shut out 3 times this year, and that's a league record, a rather dubious one, I guess.
It certainly is, and that man has got one of the shutouts, and he is hot. 24 victories this year. That's the man with the parrot. Get a shot of Ozzie, too, maybe a little bit later on. This is the 3rd meeting between these 2 teams. They're tied in the season series at 1 apiece. Back on December the 26th, in a game that we televised here at Kemper Arena. The only other home game that we brought you on TV5. That was Rick Ben's first game And the Comets beat Minnesota that night 5-1. The Payday played that night.
You look at the strikers, they're not all that impressive from the one-loss standpoint. They're only one game over 500. They've beaten every team in the league.
They're a very good team. As you say, they're not a flashy team. They just get the job done, though. And they've got an excellent goalkeeper. A little flaky, but a good goalkeeper nonetheless. That's Salguero right there, battling and losing it. It's controlled by Hudson for Minnesota. Comets coming in here with a record on the season of 21-26. They are 12-11 at Kemper Arena. But most importantly, they are 18-16 since Rick Benben took over his first game back on December 26th. That puts him in the top 5 in the league. Salguero feeding Mangione in the corner, cleared away by Dwight Lotavegas to center. Twellman puts it right back in.
See that one touch by Jaramina? The guy, he can see all over the field. That's what makes him such an excellent soccer player, and that's exactly what Rick Benben will tell you. He knows where he is all the time.
That's Jaramina right there, centering it, looking for Mangione. A little bit long. Twellman got the ball, but easy save for Lettieri. You're right, Jack. He has great natural ability and the kind of things that you can't really teach a player, can you?
Yep. So skillful on the ball, and that's so exciting to watch, to see a guy just be able to dribble the ball and know when to pass it, when to keep it, when to protect the ball.
Lotavegas at the point, 9:43 to go in the first quarter. No score. We're live from Kemper Arena, final game of the regular season. Now Schiraldi playing it up top, looking for Salguero. It's kept in by Ken Fogarty. Ooh. Now it comes way back out to center, and a whistle and a foul here. That's the first foul called in this game.
Well, it would be nice to see the Comets jump off to a lead. They were down 3-0 the other night in Tacoma. You'll see the foul right here. Fell behind 3-0 last night in St. Louis, only to come back to force that game into overtime. This will be the third year the Comets have made the playoffs. They've never won a game after clinching a playoff spot.
You know, that's interesting. I never really had stopped to think about that, and it was mentioned before tonight's game. They've never won in the regular season. Now, they did obviously win in the playoffs in the series last year against St. Louis.
0-3 in 82, 0-1 last year, and 0-1 this year.
Would you say they relax after they make the playoffs? Here are the Comets with a 3-on-2. Makowski takes the shot, and it's blocked by Bain. Goes up over the glass, out of play. Stops the clock with 9:03 to go first quarter. No score at Kemper Arena. Ready to go here on the restart. It'll be taken by Katsoukas. Katsoukas looking for Salguero in the box out in front. Couldn't get it to him. And the strikers will clear it, but Manny Schwartz will stop it in the D and have to kick it back out. Comets, if they win tonight, and if St. Louis wins tomorrow in Wichita, then Kansas City would open the playoffs in St. Louis on Wednesday. Now, there's a lot of other combinations here, but if the Comets win and St. Louis loses, then you play Minnesota Wednesday night.
Well, we know the Comets are going to play on Wednesday night.
We know that.
So it could be. You're right, Don.
Hey, they can play.
Minnesota or St. Louis, right?
Yeah, Cleveland.
Cleveland, right.
That, because we mentioned Minnesota could knock Cleveland out of third place. So there's all kinds of possibilities that exist here, and to really explain them all at this juncture anyway, certainly would be kind of futile. We'll just have to wait till the end of this game and find out the outcome, and that will make the picture a little bit more clear, but certainly not definite.
And, of course, that first round of the playoffs, best 2 out of 3, so they would play Wednesday night, Friday, and again on Sunday. So that's a quick series, and the Comets are going to have to win on the road. We know that.
Middle game would be here in Kansas City on Friday night, and then you go back on the road for the deciding game. Well, talk about playoff series, though. Last year with St. Louis is one of the best I think I've ever watched in any sport. What a battle. They win the first 2 in St. Louis, come back, Kansas City wins the next 2 here, and then they go back to St. Louis for a war in that deciding game.
That's why I talked about at the top of the show. I think emotionally the Comets really want to play St. Louis. Of course, a lot of these guys are from St. Louis, but even throw that out of the book. They remember last year. They want to go after them. They want to go head-to-head with them, but they're just happy to be there, too.
Abrahams to Fredrickson on a give and go, and Abraham's shot is deflected. Bruce Miller may have got a piece of it and put it in the seats. 7:30 to go in the first quarter, and no score between Minnesota and Kansas City. All right, Miller did not get a piece of it because Lettieri is getting ready to take a goal kick here with 7:30 to go in the first quarter. There's a good look at Tino, who flicks it out. Now they'll play it back in the box. They'll try to set it up. Minnesota, not really a running team, as I recall, Jack, in the 2 games we've seen them. They like to play a little more deliberate style, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and they've got some excellent players, too. This Goosens, you'll keep your eye on him tonight. He is really something. There's only 1 foul on both teams on the board, and that tells you something, Don. Usually, Nice shot there. Go ahead.
Charlie Carey just got off a good shot on Lettieri. You were saying.
What I was saying, I talked about these players could be tired, both of them. The Comets played Monday, Wednesday, last night, and again tonight. Usually when you see a bunch of fouls, maybe guys are getting beat, they're dragging, they're pulling on one another, but it's been a very up and down type game so far.
Willie's shot, his first shot was stopped by Manny Schwartz. Then the next one was blocked out in front by Petcher. I'll tell you something, Manny was really under the gun. Goosens was there also for a shot after that.
That Goosens really has a rocket. He'll be number 11 in your picture. He'll get the shot coming up after this one, but you'll see Manny have to sneak around Giraldi there to find out where that ball is coming from.
You saw the first shot on the replay from Willie, and boy, he let a shot go. Hey, this Minnesota team has won 10 of their last 14. As I mentioned, they're trying for 5 in a row. They've never won that many straight. But they're averaging better than 8 goals a game in their last 3 games. That means their offense right now is in high gear.
And they're only giving up 3 goals a game, so that means their defense is playing very well.
Right now they're testing Schwartz and the Comets defense. They got a 3-on-2 developing quickly. Willie a drive, and Schwartz makes that save and slammed into the glass. That one blocked out in front.
Well, they're really teeing off now, aren't they?
Charlie Carey will finally get it out of there. Whew. Charlie Carey running it out of the Kansas City zone. Deep into the corner, Lettieri will play it out. Comets right now on having to fight just to stay alive. They've had little offense going for them. Strikers, as I mentioned, hot on offense, and they're controlling the pace right now. Here's Thompson working on Giraldi. Check it, that's Alan Willie. Plays it over this side to Ken Fogarty. Now Willie back at center again, and they'll set it up one more time. Now Goosens has it in this corner. Jan Goosens centering it out in front. Oh, he had Ray Hudson right there, but Hudson couldn't get to it. Nice play that time out of Vegas, but the Comets clear that one.
Another gamble by Manny.
Boy, he does. They've still got control. Goosens looking again for Hudson, and Fredrickson deflected it up into the seats. Clock is stopped. 5:32 now to go in the first quarter. Minnesota and Kansas City scoreless. .5:32 to go in the quarter as Hudson starts the ball back in play, and Twellman will get it out for Kansas City. Goosens tries a tackle. Timmy still got it. Double team now. Goosens and Hudson. Strikers control again. They're pressuring, Jack. They're giving Kansas City a lot of trouble getting out of their own end.
They really are, and that's what they want to do because they probably think the Comets are a little tired, so you get that man-to-man pressure all over the place.
I don't think this Minnesota team ever gets tired. Dumbovic. Hat trick last night against Wichita, centering it out in front. Oh, and Willie put it up high in the seats. Oh, he was wide open. He's got a point in 6 of his last 7 games, and he almost had himself a goal right there.
Just trying to overpower the ball.
It was an easy tap.
Yeah, it was just a little one-touch shot there. Easy for us to say that, isn't it? But he was wide open.
For those guys, it's easy, right?
Yeah. That's what they get paid for, right?
Manny Schwartz. There you see Jeff Mantell. There's the Kansas City bench. Enzo the payday in there, who played so well last night, as Jack mentioned. Rick Benben walking along. He's probably the first game this season, Jack, that you could say he is relaxed in.
Yeah, he really is. Boy, it's been a long, long season. By the way, we're going to have the Comets owner, Dr. Schoenstatt, on at halftime, and that should be a very interesting interview. A lot of things we want to pick his mind on because this has been quite a year. It really has for this franchise.
What a turnaround, too. That shot by Dumbovic is blocked by Katsukis and goes up into the seats. 4:40 to go in the first quarter now. As I mentioned, Minnesota last night beat Wichita 7-2 in Bloomington. As for the Comets, who lost last night in overtime in St. Louis, this is their 4th game in 6 days. They finished a long road trip, which we televised those 2 games from Los Angeles and Tacoma on Wednesday. That trip started last Thursday in Dallas, so they played a lot of games here in the space of 10 days. Centering pass out in front, nobody there again. Minnesota, though, has had some great opportunities. You got to think they're going to light the light here in a second.
Well, Clive gets his first shift tonight. He played some last night in St. Louis. Of course, Makowski had to sit out last night's game because he picked up 20 penalty minutes for the season.
Clive Griffith's out on defense right now, along with Timmy Twellman. There's Clive in your picture, running off to the right. There's Mangione bringing it up. Long pass looking for Twellman. Lettieri comes way out. He gambles and it pays off.
Is that a pull down? Hold on, Timmy. Twellman had him by the shirt.
Here come the Comets again. This is Mickey Mangione. Oh, Lettieri.
There it is.
He's goal. Abraham. Laurie Abraham tips in the rebound. Lettieri the assist. Laurie Abrahams tipped in that loose ball. Lettieri got just a piece of it. And Abrahams breaking in on the right wing all by himself, drives it home. Let's take another look, Jack.
Well, you'll see it's a lucky break right here because it slips right off of his knee, but give Abrahams all the credit in the world. He was in the right place at the right time. One touch, 1-0 Kansas City.
Boy, Laurie Abrahams just continues to score. That's his 22nd goal of the year. Here's another look at it. Right there. Just get
right off the knee of Lettieri.
But look at where Abrahams is. We've said it time and time again. You got to be in the right place to score in this game, and he's always in the right place.
He used his left foot, too.
Yeah. Abrahams really instrumental in the Comets' playoff drive, to say the least. 22nd goal. He's had 22 goals and 16 assists since he joined the team. That's incredible. He has really been a big factor for this team.
29 overall, isn't it? 29 goals.
Right, he joined the team on January 22nd. Let's take a look at this last one.
I would say they were just going for the ball, called a little trip.
That's the Comets' first foul of the period. 2 against Minnesota. There you see the statistics. Abrahams from Mangione. His 29th overall of the year, his 22nd here. Coming at 10:59. So Minnesota had all the opportunities and showed all the offensive attack here in the first quarter, and yet the Comets get the first goal and draw first blood. It's a crazy game, isn't it?
Well, we were just talking about it. The last 2 games, the Comets fell behind early, 3-0. You know, you look at this Minnesota team, in the first periods of time to get them in the first quarter, they've been outscored 52-39.
That shot by Fredrickson is blocked, and a handball is called. And it will be against Kansas City, so Minnesota will get the free kick with 2:55 left to go in the quarter. Abraham just really outraced the defense to get to the ball, Jack. He was really being chased by Usian, but and there's a look at Usian, just outraced him to the ball. You got to be there to score, don't you? You just got to be where the ball is.
They call you a garbage man. You got to be around that goal mouth, ready to tap it in.
That's true.
How does Jungle score 80 goals a year or whatever the guy gets? He's incredible. He's got 65 this year.
How does Stuart Lee score 41? Same way.
That's right.
Matty Schwartz rolling it to Steve Petcher. What a season Steve Petcher's had for this team, huh?
Played extremely well in the second half of the season.
Leads the league, I think, in penalty minutes career-wise, doesn't he? Here's Katsoukas being pressured now by Fogarty. Tasso still has it. Fogarty still on it. To Demir. Back to Tasso. See Aramina playing with his back to the goal, Jack.
Oh, he's going to be a dancer. He really is. 22 years old.
Here he is at a foreign country, doesn't speak the language. Here's a 2-on-2. Now Tasso elects to slow it down as Usian stays on him. He'll play it over to Mangione. They got Demir Aramina out there with Tasso Katsoukas on this line, and Mangione centering it. The Rick Benben, with Ficus and DiBernardo both out, really has his lines all juggled around today.
Yeah, Aramina played basically with Salguero last night, but I imagine we'll see him out there with Tasso too.
Now they got Salguero out there, so they got Tasso out, so they've made the change. There's Aramina over to Petcher on the left wing. He's got Salguero in deep on the right side. He tries to center it off the boards, and it's cleared by Greg Thompson, but Petcher has it right back. Here's Salguero now for Kansas City. Up to Petcher, coming up on 1 minute left in the quarter here as Nick Mangione has it at center. Little Nick over to Twellman. Final game of the regular season. 1 minute now left of the quarter. Here's Mangione. Salguero slips on the play and goes down. Striker's now having trouble getting it out. Mangione still has it. But that time it's grabbed by Lotta Vegas, and Lettieri will throw it out to center. That's Delmovic. Nice move. Usian, big scorer for them, loses control. Delmovic off the boards, and Manny will be there.
Nice cover-up job in the middle by Twellman, too. He was cutting right down that lane.
Here's Aramina. I think it was a good idea. Somebody said, who was it said they should call him Dan Harmon?
Danny Harmon?
Danny Harmon.
Well, Peranovic, you know, the super scout from Yugoslavia, he asked the Comets when they brought him over. He said, you want to change his name to Danny? The Comets says, we'll let him call what he wants to be called, right?
That's what's left of the first quarter, 7 seconds, and his name is Damir Aramina. Haramina. Had 2 assists last night.
Does not speak a word of English.
He knows a few words, I think.
Is it hamburger or cheese? He knows cheeseburger.
He knows cheeseburger and Coca-Cola.
He's been eating cheeseburgers and Coca-Cola every day. You have to feel sorry for the guy. He goes into a restaurant. How can he read a menu?
If Boris Bandov doesn't go with him, he's in real trouble. Sometimes Boris says, I'm not hungry, so you'll have to wait. 1 second left here as Abrams will take the kick in from the near side, as you get a good look at it there from our ground level camera. That's got to be tough. And he's just a young guy, and there's the horn. That's it. That's the end of the first quarter of play. The offensive attack, for the most part, in this first period was all Minnesota. But as you see on the scoreboard, the Comets hold the edge. They lead it 1-0 on Laurie Abraham's goal. We'll be back with quarter 2 in just a moment.
At the end of 1 at Kemper Arena, the Comets lead Minnesota 1-0. Don and I were talking about the Comets' newest player, Misl Haramina, 22-year-old young man from Yugoslavia, does not speak English. It is rather difficult for us to interview him, but his buddy Boris Bandov helped us. And I asked him what it was like coming over and playing in this country, especially the indoor game. He's never played it before.
Dođeš u stranu državu i da igraš ovaki mali nogomet gdje se uopće ne igra, recimo u Evropi ili Jugoslaviji. Što misliš o tome?
Pa, nije teško, mislim, ne, na sve se privikne. Teško mi je samo zbog jezika, ne? A zbog igre to znam igrat, ne? I igrao sam veliki i mali i tako. Nije teško, ne? Na sve se privikne.
He says it's not that difficult. The major problem is a language barrier. He says, but he played soccer outdoor mostly and indoor, like streetwise. So he looks okay.
What words in English does he really know?
I pitate koje riječi znaš u engleskom?
O, naučio sam dosta riječi ovak, samo ne znam povezat, ne?
He says that he learned a lot of words, but he doesn't know how to put them all together.
All right.
All except cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger and Coca-Cola. I've heard him say both of those. Oh, boy, what a great guy. Delightful young man. Let's take a look at the statistics here in the first period of play. Have them for you in a second. There they are. Shots on goal. Minnesota 9, Kansas City 5. The saves are even at 3 apiece. So the offensive attack was certainly in Minnesota's favor. They outshot Kansas City in that first period, but they trail 1-0 on Laurie Abraham's goal, his 29th of the year and his 22nd since joining the Comets. All right, here we go, second quarter. But that's the first time you ever interviewed somebody through an interpreter.
You know, we say two words, and it might take about 30 seconds to see it come from them. But Boris has really helped that young man. I understand he's a right there.
Tie game. The Strikers get on the board right there as Hudson scores, number 4. And it's all tied up at 1-1. Let's take a look again. Comets playing a little loose in their own end right here. Laurie Abraham's losing control, and Hudson just ran him right off the ball, drove it past Manny Schwartz. So a little bit of a mistake deep in their own end, and it's all tied up at 1-1.
Well, there's no help there, as you can see. None whatsoever for Manny Schwartz.
You can't ask the keeper to do anything when your guys give it away right in front of the goal. Well, that was quick. 14:23 still left to go in the quarter, and it's all tied up at 1-1. For Hudson, that is his 6th goal of the year. As I recall, Jack, he was tough on Kansas City last time we played them, too.
He's always around that ball. He really is. And you hate to give up a cheap one like that, but the Comets are going to have to come back. And you have to watch this Minnesota team. As we mentioned, the last 3 games, they've been averaging something like 8 goals a game.
There it is, Ray Hudson, no assist. Time of the goal is just 35 seconds into the quarter, and it's all tied up at 1-1 here at Kemper. That sort of silenced the crowd, the jovial mood that everybody was in.
Well, we'll see a lot of players coming off the bench. Rick's going to be substituting freely tonight because of injuries. Also, as he told us at the top, there are a lot of players he wants to give some playing time now that the Comets have already clinched this playoff spot, and they will have to play on the road.
By the way, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Rick says this game doesn't mean all that much.
Well, it really doesn't, but I don't know. I kind of like to think you want to go into the playoffs at some kind of momentum. He mentioned that, and I really think that's important. Here's Jan Gustins. Jan Gustins walking in on Manny Schwartz, and Manny made a big save that time. Here's Haramina. Armenia still has control.
Well, you want to get your players healthy. The guys like Angelo DiBernardo, who is not playing tonight, Ficus is not playing. I believe when Rick was talking that way, he meant basically he really doesn't care who they play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They don't really have it. Here's the last save. Look at this. Here's Goosens coming in right point blank on Manny Schwartz. Manny made a big save. He held his ground on it.
Comets going to have to get some guys back here now. Schwartz is going to need some help.
Armenia goes down the play. No foul is called, and Lettieri has it. Lettieri throwing at center. He's got Domovic. Domovic over to Bain. Blocked by Petcher. Bain follows his own shot, and Petcher blocks it again. 2 blocks. Now out of Vegas at the point. You know, you think about it, they didn't let DiBernardo play last night. Centering pass. Oh, and Domovic on Lada Vegas' centering pass couldn't drive it home. He didn't let DiBernardo play last night. He's not letting him play tonight, so he's resting that ankle. I think he really flew him into Tacoma only because they had to have the win. That was a must game. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen him play in that Tacoma game either if they'd won in Los Angeles.
And the guy gets a hat trick for you.
Says it didn't bother him, except it hurt after the game. I'll tell you, that's called playing hurt.
That's right.
And really sacrificing yourself to win. Tells you what kind of a player he is and the kind of makeup he has.
See, the Comets have been all bunched up here so far in this period. They're not spreading it out. They're not using the field down. That's what they're going to have to do to get some offense generated here.
So far in the foul department, none in this quarter. Been only 3 in the first quarter. 2 for Minnesota. It's been a very low foul count in this game.
Nice pass.
There's Schiraldi. Domovic tipped it away, but Gino still has it. He'll take the shot, and he's got it in the seats. The clock is stopped. There's 11:47 to go, and there's the score in the second quarter. The fans who are here on Fan Appreciation Night in Kansas City. Boy, they did okay tonight. They got the team pictures from Kodak and TV5. They got some nice little cookbooks with favorite recipes of the players' wives. And they were busy getting autographs as a number of the Comets players were situated around the arena tonight about an hour and a half before game time signing autographs.
You can't tell me Kansas City is not a good sports town. The fans have really supported this franchise. Here we are on live television. They've got over 15,000 in here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That's incredible. Let's watch this again. Watch this now. Salguero gets dumped right here, and they don't call anything. Now watch this. And they call a foul there on Salguero. There's a shot by Domovic. It's a little bit high, and Carlos will clear it out to center, but Usian has it right back. Usian to Domovic. Domovic a shot. Good move. Now Mangione for Kansas City. Nick can't get it out. Look at that. They just can't get it out of their own end. Finally, Manny says, have to roll it out of here, guys.
Sometimes you wonder, because Mikowski is the type of player, Don, that loves to come forward. And sometimes if they get mix-ups there on the line changes and this type of thing, they get caught without any help in the back.
Talk about coming forward. Schwartz came all the way out to the center line that time. Here's Lettieri, a little man who can jump. He is not that tall, but we saw him in that game on St. Patrick's Day up in Minnesota just go high into the air. He's got springs in his legs. He can really jump. Now Goosens. Goosens, a long one. That was tough to handle. That took a short hop in front of Schwartz. Goosens kept that in, but Mangione has it. Here's Nick with Charlie Carey. Benny Tabak is out with Carey. Nice move by Mangione on Thompson that time. Mangione signed, of course, as a free agent after Baltimore cut him just at the start of the season. And he has played well on this team. Here's John McGrain putting it deep into the Kansas City zone. Mikowski stepped right in front of Goosens on that play. Good look from the end zone. And they call a push there on Jan Goosens. So the fouls are now even up at 1 apiece. Watch Goosens right here. Just give Mikowski a little shove. Right there. Here's Mikowski back for Kansas City. Mikowski. Just chipped away that time.
Nice play by Charlie Carey.
Charlie Carey coming right back. Carey a shot. Oh, Charlie Carey. Good play by Carey that time.
Watch Lettieri now. This is really a great save. Now he just lunges in the air after the ball right there.
Good hustle by Charlie. That's the way it's been with Carey this year. He has hustled. Charlie with 15 goals. Here's Tabak now. Benny Tabak to Carey. There it is. Goal! Oh, that's pretty. Fredrickson for Freddie his 11th goal of the year. And you can't work it any better than that.
The way it's supposed to be done. Boy, watch this. These pictures will illustrate it right there. One touch, right across the middle, boom, just like that.
But Terry doesn't have a chance. Watch it once more time. Carey, Fredrickson, open net, boom. All right, the Comets are back out on top with 9:06 to go in the first half. Mark Fredrickson gets his 11th goal of the year, and there's something about Freddie's goal, Jack. He always seems to time them. They couldn't come at better times. This game right then, the momentum seemed very much to be shifting in Minnesota's favor, and all of a sudden Fredrickson lights the light, and he's had a lot of key goals this year. Not a lot of goals, but when he has scored, it's been at the right time.
You're exactly right. He hangs around that goal mouth a lot, and it pays off, too, because that's how the Comets scored both times tonight, is just having the guy in the right place at the right time.
Benny Tabak started that play with that pass to Charlie Carey, and Tabak 33 points this year and 18 goals and 15 assists in his very first season ever of indoors, and he's just adapted to the game so well, and Charlie has just played so well too.
Well, the coaches will tell you over and over, and I know they tell the players this in practice, you've got to finish. You get a play going, you've got to finish, and right there we saw some great one-touch soccer. Freddie was there to finish.
Charlie Carey with 2 goals in that Tacoma game, and they just played it well. That's one touch at its best. 8:30 to go now in the first half. Comets again out on top 2-1. They scored the first goal in this game. Lettieri puts that one in the seats. There's the scoring summary. Time of the goal was 5:54. Mark Fredrickson from Charlie Carey, but you got to give Benny Tabak credit too, because he really started the play, even though officially he doesn't get credited with an assist. That's probably one time, Jack, where he should be.
Yeah, really. Here's a good look at that restart and what the Comets are trying to do when they've got players running in all directions, Don.
Restarts are so critical in this game. They've been such a problem for Kansas City, too. There's Lettieri. He'll scoop that one up as Jaramillo was right on top of him. Now Lotta Vegas playing it to inside. Petcher blocked it out in front. Giraldi goes down. He's marking Dumovic tonight. Gino's still with him. Now they go back up top to Ken Fogarty. Fogarty will bring it back out and try to set it up again. So this is it, the end of the regular season. Kansas City. St. Louis will play Wichita tomorrow, and that will be a key game for the Comets, particularly if they win tonight. There's a 3-on-2 behind. Laurie Abrahams hit him in the back, and they call a handball here against Kansas City. Now Mikowski running at Yushiev, and they'll call dangerous play here on Mikowski. That's a foul. Kansas City picks up a foul. That's their first of the quarter.
Mikowski does that so well on the fly. When he's coming out to take in another shift, he'll just come flying out of that box there, but you'll see the trip right there as he cuts right in front of Yushiev.
Now they call the foul on Yushiev. He signaled dangerous play. Now Lettieri, I think he called 2 fouls, Jack. Both teams got charged with a foul. Yushiev got the second one. Mikowski was charged with dangerous play. Then Yushiev got a foul for tripping, yeah. So that's why Kansas City got the free kick. So those are offsetting fouls. In effect, I guess you could say that. Anyway, they each get charged with one. It's 2 apiece. Kansas City got the ball back. Here's Lotta Vegas now with Mangione. Lotta Vegas centering it. Far side, Dumovic working on Mikowski. Elson Seal out for the first time. Helps out on the play. That shot by Lotta Vegas and a goal. Dumovic driving it home. I was just about to say, good thing Elson helps out. You don't want to see somebody as skillful as Dumovic going one-on-one with Mikowski. But boy, if Dumovic didn't get it right back. Now watch Lotta Vegas right here. He took it right away from Elson Seal, and he just fed a nice pass to Dumovic, who just deflected it in.
Heeled it in.
Manny Schwartz. Yeah, heeled it in. Excellent play. There's a look at Drago Dumovic. His 11th goal of the year. He had a hat trick last night in their win over Wichita. So now he's got another goal. 4 goals in 2 games, and this one's not even half over. Elson Seal is out there right now with Laurie Abrahams and Nick Mangione. There's Mangione along the near boards. Hudson clears it back out to center to Jan Dusin. That's his 12th goal of the year. Check it for Dumovic. His 12th of the year. Manny Schwartz will roll it to Mikowski. Mikowski in that penalty, which gave him 20, There you see the time of the goal, 8:05. Oh, Terry got help that time from Greg Thompson.
Nelson was just a little late cutting across the middle, or the Comets would have had a 3-2 lead.
Payne blocked that one. We've got a whistle here. Abraham's having some words right there with one of the officials. That's the second referee. It's a holding call against Minnesota. Joe Rudy's the other referee. Jeff Mantell is the senior official. That's Rudy right there on the restart. Makowski will wind up with the left foot, and he'll bury it about 14 rows up. There's our score. There's 6:08 to go in the first half. It's all tied up. Minnesota Strikers, you see them on their bench there, trying for their 5th straight win. The man with the big grin is John McGrain. They've won 10 of their last 14. They're averaging better than 8 goals a game in their last 3 games, and defensively they have allowed less than 4 goals per game in those last 3 games. So they're not only playing well offensively, but also defensively. Right now they're all tied up with the Comets at 2-2 here, with 5:45 to go in the first half. Twellman and Bain will win control. Playing it to Goosen, who's backing in on Fredrickson. Now Twellman gets it to Manny Schwartz.
Goosen always likes to play with his back to that goal, and that's why he's so dangerous, and he can go right or he can go left.
Got 49 goals on the season, so he's trying for number 50. Played 2 seasons ago with Golden Bay, you may recall, when they were in the league. The Earthquakes in the MISL last year did not play in this league, and Minnesota came back this year. He's an excellent player, both indoors and outdoors. Now Fredrickson to Twellman, who heads it up to Tabak. But Bruce Miller controls it. Back come the Strikers. Here's Bain. Bain will take the long shot. Breaking in, looking for a rebound was Chris Dangerfield. And the ball is in the seats out of play. 4:58 to go. All tied up at 2-2. Comets lost last night, as we mentioned, 4-3 in overtime. Ebert scoring with less than 3 minutes to go in that overtime period. So, as Jack was explaining at the top of the telecast, that's it as far as the Comets are concerned for a home field advantage. They're in the playoffs, but they'll be on the road. There's no way, no matter what happens tonight, that they could possibly change that situation. So the playoffs will begin Wednesday in any one of several cities, and then we know Friday night they'll be here in Game 2. Try to get you some information regarding ticket information for the playoffs. Jack will be visiting with the Comets owner David Schoenstatt at halftime. Here's McGrain. Charlie Carey runs him down from behind. They're going to call a foul on Carey. McGrain will act a little bit here and hope for a penalty card. It's not going to come. Watch Carey right here, Jack. He not only trips him, but I think he gives him a little, yeah, right there.
A little push there by Charlie Carey. Fouls even up at 3-3. It's still 4.5 to go here in the first half.
Comets trying for their 13th win of the year at home. They are 12-11 at Kemper and 9-15 on the road. That's as good as they have ever done on the road in any season. Most wins ever, 9. There's the last foul. Now we come back to live action. Here's Schiraldi kicking at that ball that was covered up against the boards by Lettieri. Lettieri will throw it out to Domovic at center. Boy, Gino, I'll tell you something, this game always means a lot to Gino. Here's Domovic centering it, goal. Oh, Domovic makes a nice play. He just set up Gary Etherington out in front beautifully.
And watch when we show you this replay how he stayed with it. He almost took it right into the goal with his body. You'll see it right here now. The left-handed or the left-footed shot right there, and watch him follow through. He stayed right with the ball all the way. Schwartz committed himself. You'll see him come out right there, and boom.
Well, there we go. It's a 3-2 Minnesota lead again as these teams keep exchanging the lead. Strikers are now out on top with 3:59 left to go in the first half. The goal by Gary Etherington. That's his 5th of the year. And Domovic picks up the assist.
There it is.
Vic Mangione. And it's tied up again.
Great pass from Carlos Salguero. Oh, you talk about being on the money. All Mangione had to do was just stick his toe out there.
Watch the replay on this one again. It's a beautiful play. Even Lettieri says you can't stop that play. Not even the parrot can help. Look at this. They had two guys on Salguero, and he still centered it out there. And you see right there, Fogarty got beat on the play. Watch Mangione break in right there behind Fogarty and get himself in position.
Now see, there's Lettieri came all the way out. That cost him that time. You know, you're taking a gamble. We talk about Schwartz doing it too, but that's a perfect illustration of what can happen when you commit yourself.
Well, these two teams are just exchanging goals left and right here. 6 goals scored so far in the first half. Last time they played was back on March 17th in Minnesota, which the Strikers won that one 3-0. Comets won here 5-1 on December the 26th. So this is the rubber match, so to speak, in the 3-game season series. Jan Goossens turning and firing. He's just a little off the mark. Controlled by Fogarty. Fogarty. Now Willie up top. Alan Willie on Petcher. Hit the crossbar, and they say it went in. And that 3 quick goals that hit the crossbar, and the goal jet says it dropped in over the line. Oh, boy.
Well, we'll find out here in a hurry. That's all it has to do, Don. You're right, is just cross that line, any part of the ball, and you'll see it right there.
Yeah, Schwartz got a piece of it. I thought it hit the crossbar, but apparently
it's in there. In the back of the net and back out. It went in and came out.
Alan Willie gets the goal, number 9. For Willie, that's his 21st goal of the year. So, this has been a crazy game. Abrahams. Check it. Mangione scoring at 11:13. Etherington scored at 11:01. So, those goals coming just 12 seconds apart. I'll get the time for you in a minute on that goal by Alan Willie. 2:45 to go in the half, and the Strikers again out on top. 4-3.
And that makes the last run. Might win this game.
Well, Schwartz didn't get a piece of it. It happened so quickly. It looked like it might have caught the crossbar the way it came down. But it went in. There's Manny fielding that one and playing it to Tasso Koutsoukas. Comets will bring it back up. They're down by a goal again. Look at the times of these goals. Etherington at 11:01 for Minnesota. Mangione at 11:13, and then Willie at 11:55.
Got
now
3 inside a minute, huh?
That's right. 3 quick goals. Boy, they can come quickly in this game. There you see it. Willie from Fogarty at 11:55. 2 minutes left to go in the first half. 4-3 now. Minnesota once again out on top. Abrahams and Petcher will play it way back to Manny Schwartz. Schwartz, of course, out of the box, has to bring it up, cannot throw it at that point. Look at Bain just step right in front of that pass. Delmovic right back for Minnesota, working on Tasso. Now he'll play it back to Etherington. Thompson. Delmovic, they pass it around well, Jack. They have good control of the ball, don't they?
They really can, and you'll see so much one-touch stuff with this team. They're just spreading it out now with 1:20 to go.
Usian has been quiet so far in this game. He's got 35 goals on the season. You see him right there with the ball. Usian, Fredrickson, now Tasso, and well, the Strikers just keep the pressure on. Kansas City just having difficulty much of the night getting it out of their own end. This is what Los Angeles did to them too in that game that they lost 7-1 in Los Angeles that we televised on Monday night. A minute left in this first half. There's Lettieri. You can see the parrot. Ozzy, too, his stuffed parrot hanging in the back of the net. Now look where Lettieri is. There's nobody in the goal right now. And Charlie Carey knows there's the parrot is the only one who's in the goal.
The parrot's taking care of it. Don't worry about it. Lettieri's out there. He's in the game. He told the parrot.
Charlie,
watch out here now.
Uh-oh, now Lettieri's got to hustle back. Benny Tabak at center. Comets will slow it down. Schiraldi looks for Fredrickson on the left wing. Up top to Mikowski. There's Mikowski a drive. It's blocked out in front by Etherington. Headed back in by Schiraldi. Etherington heads it back out. Freddie's shot is blocked. Here's a 2-on-1. Schiraldi has to hustle back. Mikowski and Collins to John Goossens. And Manny Schwartz makes a big save on Goossens. Oh, loves this save. Collins gave Goossens a nice pass, and Manny just came out and made the stop.
You won't see many better than that.
That's an excellent, excellent play again by Manny Schwartz. Well, that's it. That's the end of the first half. Charlie Carey talking to Lettieri there saying, I knew you were out of the net, pal. I was trying to break in. TV5's coverage of Comet Soccer continues after this message from Anheuser-Busch. Minnesota Strikers leading the Comets 4-3 at halftime here at Kemper Arena. Coach Rick Benben is standing by on the sidelines. Rick, if you can hear us, I know the Cobras are playing down there. It's a little bit noisy. Did the pace of the game surprise you, or the fact that there were 7 goals scored in the first half between these two teams?
Well, yes, I was surprised.
I don't think
I was surprised. I thought that it would be a much low-scoring game, but I think that, both teams made some bad defensive mistakes, and I think that's due to the fact I think there's a lot of fatigue on the field. So I think the team that is able to overcome a little bit of tiredness is going to have a big advantage here in the second half.
Rick, I wanted to ask you, right there in the latter parts of the second quarter, it looked like the Comets were having, because of all the pressure by the Strikers, a little trouble getting the ball out of your own end. What do you plan to do about that in the second half?
Well, I just think one thing we have to do is we have to get our attack stretched out a lot better. I think that we're getting everyone back behind the ball, but when we do win it, we're just way too slow coming out of the back. So we have to come out of the back a lot faster.
Rick, some good one-touch playing by both teams in that first half.
Right, Dad, I couldn't hear that one.
I said there was some good one-touch playing by both teams in the first half, particularly on your guys' part.
Right, I think at times both teams showed some good attacking soccer, but I don't really think there was a lot of consistency in the game, so hopefully we'll both be able to play a better second half.
Rick, quickly, before you go into the locker room, for our viewers at home, what will you tell the Comets at halftime?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to raise our energy level. We have to try to get the crowd more involved in the game, but just most importantly that we start moving a lot better without the ball. When we pass the ball forward, to get in support quicker and get ourselves in better scoring positions.
Okay, Rick, thank you very much. Good luck in the second half. Jackie talked about getting the crowd back into the game. Part of that may be the fact that it's a very relaxed atmosphere. The game doesn't really mean anything to Kansas City, as we mentioned.
Well, it really doesn't. Of course, Rick wants to see the crowd get into it, fire up these players because they hear the crowd, but they are in the playoffs, and that's why I was interested to see what he would tell his players at halftime. Is it going to be low-key, or, hey, you guys got to start going?
I think you should tell them one thing, St. Louis. You can't play St. Louis if you don't win tonight.
That's right.
And they want to play St. Louis in the playoffs. All right, coming up, we'll show you some scoring highlights. We'll visit with the Comets owner, Dr. David Schoenstatt. Stick around. There's more halftime activities coming up at Kemper Arena in just a moment.
Back at halftime at Kemper Arena, the Minnesota Strikers on top of the Comets by the score of 4-3. The Comets owner is guesting with us here, Dr. David Schoenstatt, and I'll tell you what a turnaround we've seen in the past, 6 months or so. Of course, you had some problems around Christmas time when Pat McBride retired. Rick Benben comes on. The team was really struggling. Has to be very gratifying to you to make the playoffs and be in the position you're in right now, Doctor.
Oh, it really is. It represents an effort on the part of every guy on the team and the coach, and they've just come together beautifully. We're really excited, and I think we've gotten stronger every month, Jack, and I think we're going to be very powerful in the playoffs, and I think next year just unbelievable.
Well, that's what I wanted to point out. Don and I have talked about it on the telecast. Of course, you never stand pat. You've always done something to improve this team. You bring in Abrahams, you bring in DiBernardo, some key acquisitions have made all the difference in the world. Is this your plan in the future with this team?
Well, I think that, we've talked a great deal with Rick, and I think Rick's picked out exactly the things he needs to make a terrific team. And I think picking up Nick Mangione was a major acquisition at the time. Abrahams came along, DiBernardo, now Damir, and I'm sure that he has a few more things that he wants to do to just make a winner that'll go on for a long, long time.
One other thing I'd like to talk about is the fan support, which has really been remarkable. I guess your attendance is down just a little this year. That's reflected all around the league, and I don't know exactly why that is. But here you are on live television tonight. You have 15,000. We lost a professional basketball franchise. They said it wasn't a good sports town. You can throw that out the window, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can. I think this is a wonderful sports town. I think it's a wonderful town in general, and the Comet philosophy of always trying to give back to the community and be in the community has earned us a lot of fan support. I think this year we did a lot of things to mess up. The team had an amateur general manager in me until Phil Thomas came along. We started out on a terrific losing streak, and not only were we losing a lot, but we didn't look good. And I think as we've turned around, and the fans have never really left us, but I think the few that did are coming back. I think the Comets are looking to a long, successful time in Kansas City, and I think the community is totally responsible for it.
I don't want to put you on a spot, but since I am a reporter, of course, you were talking about moving the team over into Wyandotte County. Where does that stand right now? Can you tell our viewers what the situation is?
Well, it's really just a negotiation. We're negotiating with the city. We're negotiating with the county. I think within the next month, everybody will have enough information to get the offers on the table, and we'll get the matter resolved one way or the other.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schoenstatt.
Thank you, Jim.
Dr. David Schoenstatt at halftime, where the Minnesota Strikers lead the Comets 4-3. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
The 23rd Street Marching Cobras putting on their usual fine show at Kemper Arena at halftime here, and we got a lot of goals to take a look at here. There were 7 scored in that first half, so we'll get right to it. Let's start the scoring highlights in the very first quarter. Kansas City got on the board first when Laurie Abrahams got that shot deflected by Lettieri from Mangione and pumped it home, and the Comets led it by a score of 1-0. But they come right back in the second quarter. Minnesota, Hudson scores, and it's a tie game at 1-1. Then Mark Fredrickson from Charlie Carey. Look at this play right here that Benny Tabak started. That made it 2-1. Kansas City led it, and that was also in the second quarter. That came at 5:54, but the Strikers tie it up again at 8:05. Dumovic right here gets this ball. Now watch Elson Seal helping out on the play, but a lot of Vegas controls it, then feeds Dumovic, who deflects it in with the back of his heel, and it's all tied up again at 2-2. Then come 3 goals in 54 seconds in the second quarter. Dumovic again gets by Mikowski and sets up Gary Etherington, who runs the ball into the net. That made it 3-2 Minnesota. 12 seconds later, Carlos Salguero makes a great pass to Nick Mangione with 2 guys on him. Mangione is wide open. He gets it past Lettieri, and the Comets lead it by a score of 3-2. However, I'd rather tie up at 3-3. However, at 11:55, Willie right here, Manny Schwartz gets a piece, but it goes in. Fogarty got the assist, and that's where we are by a score of 4-3. Minnesota leads it. There were 3 goals scored in 54 seconds. First Etherington, then Mangione, and then Willie, the last goal, and that's the story so far in the first half. A crazy first half, Jack, and as Rick said, I think the fatigue did show a little bit.
Yeah, it really did, but it's been a pretty good first half. I mean, it's been a clean first half. There have been a few fouls here and there, but probably one of the guys most instrumental in the Comets playoff drive, and really since he joined the team back on January 22nd, has been Laurie Abrahams. As Don showed you, he scored the first goal tonight. He had a goal in St. Louis last night. 38 points now, 22 goals, 16 assists with the Comets. And probably one of the most difficult things for a player to do is to join a team in mid-season, because he doesn't know the style or the play of many of his teammates. And before the game tonight, I talked to Abrahams about that very same thing.
I think it's a constant learning approach, really. You have to find out what players are good at, what they're not good at, where they want the ball, where they prefer not to have the ball. And they have to do that with me, but it's always more difficult when you come into a team because you're the new player.
Well, Laurie Abraham certainly has adjusted. 22 goals since he joined this Kansas City team. He has 29 overall in the season. He came here from the Cosmos in that deal for Liverage. And he has certainly been, I guess if you could pick one key guy, Jack, and I asked Rick Benben about that. I said, give me one move that you made that was probably the biggest of all in turning the team around. And he said it was acquiring Laurie Abrahams.
That was back on January 22nd, and you're so right. We talked to Dr. David Schoenstatt at halftime. Of course, Angelo DiBernardo has meant so very much to this team. And I think you have to give the Comets front office plenty of credit for the inside. They weren't sitting still. They were going out. They were trying to improve this team all along. There you go, see Mr. Willie running off with the Cobras. What a show they put on. But the Comets they've built this team really from the time that Pat McBride resigned. Rick Benben took over. Rick's done a marvelous job, but he will also tell you that they made some major acquisitions, and that's really helped to turn this program around.
Well, you're right. It was Laurie Abrahams who I think got the offense started to be turned around, and Angelo DiBernardo who helped them finish, so to speak, because he has been the key for them down the stretch as far as the team finishing. He had the hat trick, of course, in Tacoma, which was the big game that put them into the playoffs. And DiBernardo is not playing tonight. He's been bothered by that tender left ankle. He had a hat trick, and in Tacoma, as I mentioned, he's got 8 goals and 2 assists in just 7 games since he came over from the New York Cosmos after that team folded. So DiBernardo has been a key factor. Laurie Abrahams has been a key factor. And let's not forget Charlie Ficus, who was the Comets' Offensive Player of the Year. He had a sensational year, too.
Well, that's right, but the new season is just beginning, so you can throw this part of it out. It's just like the playoffs, so it's a brand new season. It's going to be a very quick one for the Comets to get started. If you were not with us earlier in the telecast, the Comets' first game will be on the road on Wednesday night. We have yet to determine who the opposition will be. It could very well be this very same Minnesota team. It could be St. Louis. There is also a remote possibility it could be Cleveland. But right now, I would have to say it looks like Minnesota or St. Louis, and the regular season does not end until tomorrow. Wichita and St. Louis play. That's why we do not really know exactly where the Comets are headed.
Take a look at the stats in the first half. Kansas City was outshot in that first half. 18 for Minnesota shots on goal. Kansas City 15. And there you see the saves. Manny Schwartz had to make 6. Tino Lettieri had to make 5 in the first half of play. All right, here we go. Second half action. Nice to have you with us here on TV5. Don Fortune and Jack Harry. We're live from Kemper Arena on the final game of the regular season, and a game that also, as Jack just mentioned, could very well be a preview to the playoffs, which start on Wednesday night. This could, in effect, be a 4-game playoff series.
It really would be. You know, we talk about this Minnesota team, Don. They're only one game over 500. They have beaten St. Louis every time they played them this year. The Comets have split even with them. This is a rubber game here tonight.
Well, it's a big game for them. As you mentioned, they got a shot at getting into third place. There you see the trip right there on Laurie Abraham's. First foul of the quarter, and it's against Minnesota. The only way that the Strikers can make it is they've got to win tonight. That's a must, first of all, and then they got to hope that Cleveland loses their last 2 games. That's the only way that they can get into the third place position.
Well, speaking of Cleveland and Chicago tied 2-2 at the halftime, and then Cleveland goes back home tomorrow.
No goal. There was a dangerous play signaled there on a foul. Schnorch was way out of the net, but there was no goal there, so Kansas City will get the free kick. So Cleveland's got their work cut out for them. They're not a shoo-in by any means, are they?
That's right. This is exciting. No, I think it's good for the league to come right down. Nothing's cut and dried. You know, we've been guessing for the last 2 weeks who the Comets will play. Wichita was in it before. Cleveland has to play Baltimore tomorrow at home.
All right, Kasukis in the corner, being marked by John Bain. Comets are down by a goal. It's been a seesaw game. Neither team is led by more than 1 goal in the first half. Back and forth, and the last couple of minutes of that first half were really interesting as far as the way the goals were coming. 4-3 is our score. Makowski, good pressure on defense by Minnesota. That's what Los Angeles did to Kansas City in that loss on Monday night. They pressured the Comets a lot on their own end, and they had trouble handling it. That one's blocked out in front by Chris Dangerfield. Comets control it again. Twellman following his own shot. Lettieri's there. Charlie Carey was right in behind him. Charlie likes those little garbage goals. He likes to hit those little tip-ins.
You kind of sneak in there, aren't you? We noticed right there what Rick was telling us at halftime. The Comets are really not spreading it out yet, Don. They're just not finding the right position on the field, and that's what I'm sure they'll have to do here in the second half because of this high pressure being applied by Minnesota.
Domovic. Giraldi broke that one up, but it's kept in by Thompson. Domovic's got a goal tonight. He had 3 last night. Willie got a goal in that first half, his 31st of the year. Been some high-scoring players on this team. Willie, Usian, number 20, who you see at the bottom of your screen right there. He came into this game. He's got 35 goals on the year. And then, of course, you got Jan Goossens, who, if he can score tonight, will have 50 goals on the season. He came in here with 49. So they've got some guys who can put the ball in the net.
They've been outscored on the season, 219 to 218.
No, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
It really is, with all those high scores.
When you consider that Lettieri's won 24 games in goal.
The most in the league.
Yeah. There's Charlie Carey now off the wall. Thompson's on him. No problem for Lettieri. Lettieri to Domovic. Giraldi's been on Domovic all night. Every time Domovic's out there, Gino's right with him. That's been his man tonight. Timmy Clark not playing tonight. He's out because of an injury. Same is true for Boris Bandoff, who's missing tonight's game. Ficus is sitting it out because of a nagging injury, and Angelo DiBernardo, who played on a very sore ankle and scored 3 goals somehow in Tacoma, getting another night off. He also didn't play in St. Louis last night.
All 4 of those players will be ready, though, on Wednesday night when the playoffs begin.
You can bet. Laurie Abrahams. Manny Schwartz will bring it up. You know, they felt, even though they lost last night to St. Louis in overtime 4-3, they felt that they really proved themselves to be the better team. They felt they left the building with St. Louis feeling Kansas City was a better team. They were playing without 4 starters, and they did a great job.
2 of your best offensive performers and 2 of your best defensive performers missing in that game. That's why they want to play St. Louis. I don't care what you say.
Well, they got to remember that series last year was such a great series.
When you go 5 games and then lose it in the 5th and deciding game.
By 1 goal, and you get stopped right at the buzzer. You remember Schiraldi took a shot right at the horn, and it was stopped by Ilievsky. 11 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's 4-3. Strikers out on top. Fredrickson over to Katsoukas at the point. Tasso to Abrahams. Look at him play with his back to the goal, trying to post up that time on Vegas. Now the Comets will draw it back out and set it up again. Here's Tim Twellman. Vegas clears it. Petcher has it right back.
Now they're moving.
See, now they're moving.
They're moving off the ball.
Let's get a little bit of movement. Get some people going. So Katsoukas gets dumped. He was trying to center it for Abrahams. Petcher has it. Tasso. Lettieri. Ooh. Lettieri grabbed it. Tasso was just trying to sneak it in behind him. He saw Abrahams out in front. Strikers bring it right back. Strikers played last night at home, Jack. They had a pretty good crowd for Minnesota. They had about 8,000 last night in Minnesota against Wichita.
They haven't drawn that well, have they?
No,
they had some problems. That used to be a hotbed for soccer.
That's a pretty good crowd for them. They've been averaging around 6, I think, or 6,500, something like that. Goosens goes down. They call the foul on Charlie Carey here. That's the Comets' first foul. Strikers have 3 now at the 10-minute mark. 10:02 left to go in the quarter. Remember, if you get 6 fouls in a quarter, you get a bench penalty. Ooh, a hard shot that time by McGrain. And Manny Schwartz makes the save. That one goes over the glass.
His left elbow, holding on to that elbow, he really pounded that rug.
4-3 is our score here in the 3rd quarter at 9:57 left. Let's take a look at McGrain here again on Schwartz. He lets a rocket go through here. Just gets between Fredrickson and
watch his left elbow.
And what a save by Schwartz.
The Israeli goalkeeper needs only 49 minutes coming into tonight's game to beat the club record set by Enzo DePede for minutes played.
That hard shot off the glass is by Alan Willie, who's already got a goal tonight. Oh, you can hear that just rattle those boards. Here's Goosens now with Twellman, and that one will be scooped up by Lettieri. Talked to someone the other night who sat behind those boards for the first time and said, boy, I never realized the kind of force behind the ball when they shoot it until you sit right behind the goal there.
So that ball is not a rubber ball either.
No, it's the harder than a football, I think, or certainly as hard as a football. So you can imagine what that feels like when you take a shot, the way these guys can kick it. And remember, too, just take a look at all the good soccer-style kickers there are in the National Football League. Those guys are kicking footballs 50 yards and longer while standing still. So imagine the kind of force they get behind it when they get to run at it about 5 or 6 steps.
Look at this now. Oh, here.
There's Alan Willie in the corner, and Manny Schwartz stepped right in front of Hudson. He gambled, and he kicked it out of there.
Manny's going to say, if Lettieri can do it, I can do it too. The battle of the goalkeepers here. That kid has played well, though, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he really has. It's
Number one.
Been a sensational season for both of these goalkeepers tonight. You're watching 2 of the good ones tonight.
I know it meant so much to Rick Benben to see Enzo turn in such a strong performance, Don, because when you go into the playoffs, anything can happen. You've got to have that guy there ready to go.
Schiraldi blocked that shot by Goosens. You look at Schwartz right there. We've got a timeout with 8:29 to go and Minnesota leading. Out here at Kemper Arena waving for our cameras. They got around 15,000. They haven't announced the official attendance yet. That's what they were expecting. It's fan appreciation night. Loose ball out in front, and Petcher cleared that one as Schwartz had to come out to make the save prior to it. So Petcher makes a big defensive play right there. Now they call a whistle and a foul here against Kansas City. Take a look at this. See what you think. You be the referee on this play. Watch Fredrickson right here. And then watch Petcher and see if Petcher hit him from behind.
Well, you bet he did.
Yeah, he did. Here's Elson Seal. Elson Seal had a breakaway started, but lost control. Quickly, they double up on him. Etherington runs him off the ball, but they call Etherington for a push. That's 4 fouls now against Minnesota in this quarter. 2 more, and the Comets can go on the power play. Comets have drawn only 2 fouls. Comets trail it 4-3. 8:08 to go. As Fredrickson will take the kick in. Tekasukas back to Freddie, and he loses it. Ken Fogarty broke it up. Now they call a foul that time on Fredrickson on Goosens. You take a look at that one. That's 3 against Kansas City. Watch Freddie right here just run at Goosens and give him a little shove. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Listen, Don, I got some bad news for the Comets. Carlos Seguero re-injured his hamstring. Probably will not be able to play in the first game of the playoffs next Wednesday night.
Boy, that is a shame. They just get this guy back. He played for the first time really since March 1st in the Tacoma game on Wednesday night that we televised for you. He scores 2 goals last night against St. Louis. Those are his first goals since February the 27th. He got hurt on March the 1st, and now they've lost him again.
That's why these games are tough, these season-ending games. You just never know, and I think that's why, you know, Rick kept Angelo DiBernardo out. Why take any chance whatsoever?
That's right. Domovic centering it off the boards, and Manny Schwartz is there. Domovic tried to set somebody up out in front, and Schwartz made a really nice save here. Watch it again. Just covered up on it. Back to live action. Fredrickson in the Minnesota zone. Plays it back out to Tasso Kasukas. 6:55 to go in the third quarter. Here's Seal. Elson. Fredrickson posting up. Oh, Kasukas couldn't pull the trigger on the net. He was just a little bit wide. Freddie set him up with a nice pass.
Watch out here.
Now Houston. Oh, what a save! Oh, Fredrickson. And Schwartz stops that one.
I do not believe that by Mark Fredrickson.
I'll tell you something. Mark Fredrickson just made 2 great plays. First, he makes a great pass to set up Kasukas, and now watch him hustle back on Usian, and he makes that save, and he clears it out. Usian again.
Now watch this.
And again. And then Clive Griffiths can't get to it. It gets by him. And now watch Schwartz will come up and make the save. Well, the replay didn't go that far, but Schwartz made a save too.
Oh, some great work down there.
That time, Thompson's shot is stopped out in front. 6 minutes to go. The Comets down by a goal, could be more, but Freddie was at both ends of the field, quick as a flash. Boy, that's called hustle.
Oh, the strikers are really keen off here. The Comets got to get it turned around. They're doing what they were doing toward the end of the second quarter. They're just not getting the ball out of their own end.
There's a handball call here against Minnesota. That's why the stoppage of action. You watch it right here. They say he touched it with his hand right there.
Yeah.
All right. 5:35, 4-3 Minnesota. Mangione.
5 fouls on Minnesota. 1 more, a bench penalty.
Mangione off the boards. Broken up. Cleared away that time by Bruce Miller out in front. Now Goosens feeding Willie. Willie gets by Mikowski, but Mangione is there to help out. Comets hustling back now. They have picked up the tempo of the game, Jack. They've had a little higher energy level, which Coach Rick Benben said at halftime he wanted to see. Carey, he gets dumped, and that's it. That's 6. That's the 6th foul of the quarter against Minnesota, so the Comets will go on the power play attempt here with 5:05 to go in the third period. Willie doesn't like the call, but that's what it's going to be. The Comets will have the man advantage for 2 minutes. And we'll see who they send to the box with this bench penalty. We'll take a break here and then come back to see what happens. There's our score here in the third period.
Did you know that a local man who never played baseball is in the Hall of Fame? That Kansas City's best golfer is playing with a new grip this year? That our best hitter narrowly escaped a serious eye injury recently?
Goosens is in the box. He'll serve the bench penalty here for Minnesota. The Comets' power play, 27% is all they've converted on this year. 22 goals and 82 attempts. Penalty killing, Minnesota not that good. They've given up 27 goals and 85 attempts. So the Comets here, let's see if they can get back in this game. Oh, Tasso Kasukas turning and shooting, and Lettieri is there to get a piece of that one. Watch Tasso right here. Boom, he let it go, and Lettieri just got a piece of it.
This is very interesting. He's got Mangione and Abraham playing down low. Mikowski will be on the left wing. Now Kasukas will take it in.
Mangione just a little wide, cleared by Etherington. Mikowski's quarterbacking the power play, and this time he's got Tabak up top with Kasukas. That's the first time I think he's used Mangione and Abrahams together down low.
Well, he had Mangione last night. Usually Carlos is there, but Carlos Salguero's hurt, so he's going to use Mangione.
And Mangione gets stopped by Lettieri that time. 1:28 to go on the penalty. 4:30 to go in the third quarter. He's often used Tabak down low with Abrahams, but this time he's got him up top. Now Katsoukas a drive, hit the post, and Lettieri clears it. Katsoukas, Abraham's on his back, and the Comets can't get it in. Couple of close calls that time. Laurie Abraham's made a nice play. Katsoukas to Abraham, goal! Laurie Abraham.
You never give up, do you? You never give up one time after another. So many missed opportunities. Then Abraham pokes it into the corner of the net.
You know, it's kind of interesting. That's great persistence. Abraham gets the goal. That's his second of the game. He got the first Kansas City goal in this game. That's his second goal. That gives him 23 on the year. Jack, it seems like the momentum seemed to turn after Fredrickson made that great defensive play down there.
It just seemed to really fire him up,
It really did. Like they just couldn't quit. The crowd got into the game, and now they're saying that's no goal. Jeff Mantell is being waved off on that by the other official. That's not a goal.
I think a foul was called on Timmy Twellman.
Joe Rudy waved it off. He had called a foul. He said no. He blew the whistle. And you could almost see the Comets had let up on the play.
I think the strikers are getting a little frustrated down there.
Big game for Minnesota. They'd like a shot at third place, and they got a shot only if they win tonight. But this has been a seesaw one-goal game all night long. There it is, Laurie Abraham from Tasso Katsoukas at 10:56, a power play goal. And the Comets have tied this game up at 4 apiece. Katsoukas had battled hard just prior to that. Seconds earlier, he had almost set up a goal for Abraham, so they just kept banging away at it. On the restart, the shot is taken by Goossens, and it's blocked by Petcher. Timmy Clark, who leads this team in blocked shots, is not playing tonight. Petcher just made a block there, a big one. Now Schwartz will pounce on that one, as he had Alan Willie hanging right over him. 3:35 to go now in the third quarter, and it's all tied up on Abraham's goal. 23rd of the year and the second of this game.
Now you want to get it out of the back right now because you got the crowd with you. You had a little momentum, and Comets give it away again.
Out of Vegas, triple team that time. Now they call a whistle on a foul against Kansas City. That'll be their fifth foul. So the Comets got to watch it here. There's still 3:20 left to go in this quarter, and the Comets have 5 fouls. Well, the crowd just seemed to really get inspired, and so did the team on Fredrickson's play a few minutes ago, and it just got them pumped up.
2 of the finest defensive plays we've seen all night.
After he had just finished making a big offensive play. That's Twellman heading it away from Goossens out in front of the goal. Right after he just made a big offensive play on the other side of the floor. Talk about running the field. Here's Petcher now looking for Carey out in front. Seal the rebound, and the net goal! Elson, Seal, Carey, and Lettieri get into it. And Lettieri may be out of here.
I'll tell you what happened. Lettieri hit Seal right on the head.
Yeah.
Elson turned around and said something. Then he went after him.
Elson didn't like it. Charlie Carey, meanwhile, got slugged by Lettieri as well, and he just walked away from the whole thing. Now, I think
comes another.
wait a minute now. They may have thrown Schwartz out of the game. Schwartz is gone. Schwartz has now been thrown out of the game, I think. Why in the heck is Manny even down here, Jack?
Unbelievable.
I think Manny Schwartz has been ejected by Jeff Mantell.
Mikowski, the team captain now, wants to talk it over. Schwartz shouldn't have ever come down there.
He had no business being down here at the end of the field. Let's listen in. If we can hear it. He's talking over with the 2 team captains. That's Manny Schwartz, who had no business being down here. I have no idea why Manny came down to the end of the floor. Now they're going to announce the goal here right now by Elson Seal. Elson's 5th goal of the year. The goal coming at 12:01 with an assist from Petcher. And the big question mark is, who's going to the penalty box, and has anybody been ejected? They pulled a yellow card. There you see Elson, who scored the goal. The captains are the only ones who can talk to the officials once they step into that crease in front of the penalty box area. And there you see the team captains talking it over with the official.
Yeah, they're going to give... I know Schwartz got 2 minutes on it because...
Well, he got a yellow
like
card. Yeah, I thought he may have even been ejected. He pulled a yellow card on him for sure.
Now Elson's going in.
I don't see how Seal ends up in here. And what about Lettieri, who gave the shove to Charlie Carey? He slugged him, and Carey just walked away from him. He didn't want to see this thing compound anything worse.
Well, after Elson scored the goal, you give him an elbow, and Elson said, "What in the world are you doing?" Now, we might be able to pick it up right here. You'll see it here.
That's the referee, Jeff Mantell, who's trying to explain to the penalty timekeepers exactly who's going where. The crowd is booing, as you can hear in the background. All of a sudden, it's going to be a physical game. There's a look at the big crowd here at Kemper tonight.
Yeah, they're starting to throw something at Lettieri now.
That's uncalled for.
Let's look at the replay and see exactly what happens on this play.
Petcher fed Elson Seal right there. Elson took the ball off the boards and scooped over a lot of Vegas and then drove it into the open net. Now watch Lettieri right here.
He come down with his left arm. Let's see if we can pick it up here.
Watch Lettieri after Seal takes the ball off the boards, kicks it into the open net. Lettieri right there just gave him an elbow.
Get him in the back. Now Elson turns around and says, what are you doing?
Oh my. Well, we'll see if Tim Bryant is keeping statistics up here in the booth, can piece this whole thing together. Tim's writing furiously over there. He's been in touch with the scorer's table, so he knows what happened. Or at least he's trying to find out what's happened. Jeff Mantell is still down there talking, so nobody's really sure what's going to be called here. All right. All right, Seal gets 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. Manny Schwartz also gets a 2-minute penalty here. What'd they call Manny for?
Ungentlemanly conduct.
Ungentlemanly
conduct. But they got Elson Seal.
Yeah.
Unsportsmanlike.
But Lettieri's getting a penalty too. And Lettieri's getting a 4-minute penalty. So Lettieri will get a 4-minute penalty. Of course, he will not serve it. Someone will serve it in his place. Manny won't serve his penalty either.
2 minutes and 1 4-minute.
Oh, boy.
Oh, you really hate to see that stuff, but you can't tell me Lettieri started that whole thing, and even Tasso Kasukas walked around and just threw his hands down. Manny Schwartz should have never come across.
Manny had no business coming over, and Charlie Carey was the most level-headed guy of all. He walked away from Lettieri. Yeah. He could have easily gotten into it with Lettieri. He just didn't want to see this thing get even worse, get ejected, or have a real serious situation develop.
We're going to have a hold-up here. There's ice and stuff, debris all over the field now at both ends.
Let's see if we can hear Laura. He's talking now with Jeff Mantell. Goosens will serve the penalty in the box for the goalkeeper, Lettieri. So Kansas City will have Elson Seal in the box, and they'll have to send somebody over to serve it for Manny Schwartz.
All right, you got 2 minutes on Lettieri for conduct, 2 minutes on Lettieri for conduct. The yellow card came out. 2 minutes on Seal for conduct, and 2 minutes on Schwartz. And Schwartz got the yellow too, so you've got a total of eight penalty minutes on the board right now with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you the one thing, I want to know what happens here now. If Minnesota should score, one of the Comets players would come out of the box. You're going to play 3 against 3 here. You're going to play 4 against 3 because Kansas City has 2 men in the penalty box, so they've got 4 against 3. But if they score the first time, Seal would come out. That's the way I got this figured out now. It'll be 4 against 3, and it could stay that way depending on what happens. Well, the Comets, with the best penalty-killing team in the league, they will not, by the way, be able to set the record. They've only given up. They've stopped the opposition 57 times in 74 attempts, so that's not very many goals. That's 77%. It will not be a league record. All right, here we go. 4 on 3. A lot of Vegas to Willie. Blocked by Twellman. Ooh, Usian hit the post. That one is wide. Back come the strikers. Comets lead this game 5-4, and Petcher just made a big play. You got Petcher, Fredrickson, and Twellman out there. trying to kill off this penalty. Lettieri will play it to Lotta Vegas. Lotta Vegas is out there with Willie Usian. Oh, nice play by Freddie, who makes the tackle. 1:19 left to go in the 2 Kansas City penalties. So Kansas City's going to end up here, Jack, with a 2-minute power play if they don't give up a goal.
Well, Minnesota's going to play a man short, we know, for at least 4 minutes.
That's right.
Another 3 minutes right now.
That shot is wide by Willie. Freddie will clear it out. 1 minute left in the Kansas City penalties. The time is running concurrently on the Kansas City penalties. Here's
now
Usian.
Mikowski comes in. That's interesting. Petcher out.
Lotta Vegas a drive, and Mikowski and Schwartz may have both gotten a piece of that one. 45 seconds left in the Kansas City penalties. And Lettieri gesturing to the crowd. He's kind of a strange guy. He can lose his cool rather quickly. Here's Usian
in the corner.
Left side, nice play that time by Mikowski. Then a sliding tackle, and then Schwartz came out on Lotta Vegas. 25 seconds left in the Kansas City penalties. Schwartz that time on Thompson. Comets are fired up now, Jack, and that one's cleared by Schiraldi, but the strikers keep it in. Usian blocked by Twellman. 12 seconds left to go. Watch Schwartz on the last save right here.
Schwartz has been brilliant all night long. Right hand falling to the left, punches it away with the right fist.
I thought maybe Mikowski had helped him out, but he never did get any of it. Nice save by Manny. 12 seconds left to go, and then Kansas City will have the man advantage. They'll go on the power play because both players, Seal and Abrahams, will come out of the penalty box.
Rick said he wanted to get the crowd into this game. They're standing right now. He's got him into it.
I think Fredrickson is the guy who got him into it. He started all of this. Has this been a wild third quarter? And there's still 1:11 left to go in the third period. Oh, boy. There you see the matchup. 3 guys out for Kansas City now. He's got Petcher and Schiraldi up front and Mikowski back. Normally, you'd probably see Tim Clark in there, as Jack just mentioned. Mikowski's out there, right. 1:11 to go, 12 seconds on the penalties to Kansas City. Here's Thompson, off the boards, goal. With 7 seconds left to go, Bruce Miller gets the goal. Miller's 8th goal of the year, and we've got a tie game. Crowd is booing. And Miller and Lettieri looking at one another and making some gestures back and forth, just inciting the people here a little bit more.
Oh, that was a fine play there, no doubt about it. Petcher was all over him. Petcher did his job. The guy just kicked it right through the legs.
Well, the score coming with 7 seconds left in the penalty, so that will let Seal out. But Abrahams, who is serving the penalty for Manny Schwartz, still has to remain in for 7 more seconds. But remember, when those 7 seconds are up, the Comets will have the man advantage because there's 2:07 left in the 4-minute penalty to Lettieri, or the 2 2-minute penalties to Lettieri.
So now we go 4-on-4.
4 against 4, and now the Comets have the man advantage. Abrahams is out. The Comets are on the power play. They scored on their last power play attempt in this quarter. Tabak to Katsukas. Down low, again, Mangione and Laurie Abrahams, and Mikowski up top. Abrahams to Mikowski, to Benny Tabak, to Mangione. Tabak, oh, Jan, who stepped in front of him there? That was Etherington. Etherington may have been hurt. He got up limping a little bit. He's favoring that ankle. On the restart, Mangione. Nick back to Mikowski. 1:30 to go in the penalty. Ooh. Mangione just a little bit off the ball that time. That pass a little long for me. Had an open net.
Costa was just trying to sliver it across there, right across the box, right in the middle.
Looking for Nick again. He heads it out. And the strikers will break it up, but Mikowski will control it, being marked right there by Etherington. Strikers, I mentioned, not that good. A penalty killing. Oh, Mangione missed it. Nick Mangione. There's the horn. That's going to end the third period of play. What a wild and crazy third period. And the Comets, when they come back in the fourth quarter, will still be on the power play for 1:02. Rick Benben talking it over with his assistant coach, Billy Gazonis. Our score after 3, it's all tied up at 5-5. TV5's coverage of Comet soccer continues after this from Anheuser-Busch. Fan appreciation night here at Kemper, and the Comets players are thanking the 15,000 417 on hand.
Can they identify with their fans? Is this rubbing elbows with the Comet folk? Here they are, 5-5, one of the heatest quarters of the year. These guys are waving to the crowd and everything else. Beautiful.
Goals have come in bunches in this game. In this third quarter, Abraham scored at 10:56, and then Elson Seal running over Dwight Vegas here and getting in behind Lettieri scored at 12:01, and that gave the Comets a 5-4 lead. It didn't last very long, though, because after a rhubarb and a couple of penalties to Kansas City and one to Lettieri, Miller came back to score a power play goal to tie the game at 5-5.
Greg Mikowski, the team captain of the Comets, what a turnaround it's been. Let's see what he has to say about what's going on out there on the field.
Well, I think we've always had a real good nucleus of players, and Rick's certainly come in and done an excellent job for the team. He's brought in some key players, and we've basically turned it around with 3 or 4 key acquisitions with the nucleus of the team we had, and we've had confidence that we could play. It was just a matter of building on some wins, and we seem to have done that late in the year.
One of those key acquisitions, Laurie Abrahams, who you see with your back to the camera there, number 16. He's got a power play goal. Each team has scored a power play goal in this game. Abrahams got the first goal of the quarter at 10:56. And then Miller got one with 7 seconds left in the last penalty. All right, here we go. The Comets still on the power play for 50 seconds. Kasukis and Lettieri got a piece of that, and it goes up over the glass out of play. Here are the shots on goal through 3 quarters. Comets have been outshot in this game by Minnesota, 35-23. The saves are even at 10 apiece. I'll tell you, that's as wild a third period as I've seen in a long time. The fourth quarter should really be something. Comets will get the restart here because Lettieri punched the ball up over the glass. 49 seconds left in the penalty. On the power play, Kasukis to Tabak, a shot, and Lettieri made a nice save. He was partially screened on that play too. Lettieri throwing for Etherington, and Benny Tabak hustles back and runs him off the ball. Now Tabak back to Tasso. Comets will set it up with 35 seconds to go on the power play.
Abrahams, Mangione down low.
Same combination that scored the first power play goal. There's Mikowski. He'll try it this time. He's got a goal! Right foot! Greg Mikowski. Mikowski gets the goal.
You know what happened there? That really caught the strikers off guard because it was on the right side.
That's right.
They know he likes to wind up on the left side. Now watch it right here, the inside of his foot. He was going to his right side. He always usually goes to the left side.
It may have been deflected, though, by the defender, Fogarty. Watch right here. Fogarty got a piece of it, Jack. May have deflected it in. So Fogarty doesn't help his goalkeeper. Mikowski gets the goal, his 13th of the year, and the Comets lead again with 14:19 left to go in the game. Mikowski's 13th goal of the year, and Jackie called it right. I hollered right foot when he shot it because it's so rare to see him shoot with the right foot, and the defense was sagging. They were looking for him to pass off.
The strikers are all sliding to their left as Mikowski was coming to his right. He usually will wind up with that left foot. A big goal, about a 30-footer. Now you've got 14 minutes to go. This could be a preview of the playoffs. These two teams could begin the playoffs next Wednesday night in Minnesota.
Exactly. That's a very strong possibility. There you see the goal by Mikowski. The assist goes to Tabak. It's a power play goal. 41 seconds into the quarter. Now a long shot by Willie is wide. For Mikowski, his 13th goal of the year, and a rare one to see him shoot with the right foot. In fact, a couple of times we've seen him shoot with the right foot. Jackie never gets much on it.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got a rocket for a left foot.
But he caught it just with the inside of his foot right there and really got some action on the ball.
I think he may have got a little bit of a deflection, too, on it, which didn't hurt the situation, but it was headed for the net either way.
Now the Comets have to be pumped up. You want to get some. There's Seal picking them up all over the place.
Comets lead again, 6-5. How many times has the lead changed hands in this game?
You want to count them? 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. On and on.
Boy, I tell you. Here come the Comets again, but Lettieri is there as Charlie Carey was running hard. 13 minutes to go in the game.
Boy, this crowd's getting all over Lettieri every time he touches the ball.
That shot by Hudson is wide. Seal has it off the boards. A big thing now, remember, is if Kansas City wins, that kills Minnesota's chances a finishing third.
He's sticking his tongue out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stuck his tongue out at the crowd. They are all over this young man. That's the worst thing in the world to do for him, too.
Well, he's, as I said, a little bit of a flake and a strange little guy. He got into it in Dallas with a Tattoo. You remember he tried to take Tattoo's shirt off. And Tattoo grabbed his parrot. Oh, boy.
They want some color in this game, huh? Some excitement.
I tell you, I can't believe a professional athlete would carry on the way Lettieri is right now.
Yeah, they'll just stay on him. That's all they're going to do.
12 minutes to go in the game. Comets lead 6-5. Again, they've got the lead in this game by 1 goal. Neither team has ever led by more than 1 goal in this game. In the corner, a lot of Vegas. Now UCN been quiet tonight. Close call. A little bit high. UCN again, and Manny Schwartz is there. Thompson UCN, 35 goal scorer for this team. Comets have pretty much held him in check tonight. There's Fredrickson to Laurie Abrahams.
How he rolls that ball down there.
Now Katsoukas. Makowski will bring it right back. He's got the game winner so far in this game if it holds up. I can't believe 1 goal is going to hold up in this game. There's Giraldi to Tasso on the left wing. Look where Abrahams is. Right there. He hit the post. Abrahams was sneaking in behind the defense on that open side, and he hit the post. Now Abraham heads it into the corner, and Lettieri comes way out. Watch Abrahams on this play. We get a replay on it. Watch where he is. Breaking it all alone right there in the corner. Lettieri made a save on it. Yeah, he made a play. Back to live action. Fredrickson. Giraldi will chase it down. Now Delmovic will bring it out. This is a 2-on-2. UCN overran it. Pass a little bit tough to handle for him. Fogarty has it now. 10:30 to go in the game. 6-5 Kansas City. Makowski blocked that shot.
Well, this has been a fine second half of action. You talk about tired legs. These guys have not shown it here in the second half tonight.
Both of these teams played last night and traveled here today to get here for this game. They both played away from here. Minnesota played at home. Kansas City was in St. Louis. So both teams are traveling in here for this game. Been a wild game. If these teams are tired, they don't show it now, Jack.
The way it stands right now, it would be the Comets in Minnesota in Game 1 of the playoffs Wednesday night. Cleveland beating Chicago 5-3 after 3.
That would take Minnesota out of any chance for third place now, would it not?
Right.
But
see, the Comets have to win this game and then sit back and watch the St. Louis-Wichita game tomorrow.
That's right. And they've got to win in Wichita, which is not going to be easy. It's so tough to win there.
All right, if the Comets win tonight and St. Louis wins tomorrow in Wichita, then it would be the Comets in St. Louis Wednesday night. If, I guess. I will wait until
this
tomorrow.
Game isn't over yet.
That's right.
9:15 to go, and Lettieri will get booed now every time he touches the ball. There is a different, I don't know if I want to say attitude, but a different reaction to crowds by the foreign soccer player as opposed to the American soccer players. It's a highly emotional game, and foreign players tend to play it with sometimes a great deal more emotion than we as American sports fans are used to watching and seeing. And I think you're seeing that happen right here.
Well, I think in any sport, remember the old days of the Chiefs and Marv Hubbard of the Oakland Raiders when he'd come in? He would spit, throw things and everything, and the fans reacted. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to respond to that type of treatment or action on the part of the opposition.
Hubbard would shake his fist at the crowd when he'd come running out. Yeah. And then there was Freddie Williamson, the hammer, with the Chiefs in the old days who used to pull those kind of things.
I think it's great, though. You really get the crowd into it. I mean, they're coming out, let them express their feelings, and they love to get on. They're all over this guy.
There's Twellman, and they call a whistle and a foul. They call a push on Twellman. That's the first foul of the quarter against Kansas City. 8:15 to go. We haven't seen a foul called in this quarter against Minnesota or the Comets until right now.
Watch out here.
Oh, out in front. Bang, goal, tie game. UCN set it up, and he may have got the goal. UCN was playing with his back to Schwartz. I told you 1 goal was not going to hold up in this game. Watch Usian right there, feeding Lada Vegas.
Ball right off of Charlie Carey's chest.
Usian got it. Usian kicked it in. He was setting up Dwight Lada Vegas. Now watch it again. Usian right there, and it just trickles in over Schwartz. All right, it's all tied up again with 8:10 to go. There's the score. What a game. All right, they're giving the goal here to Dwight Lada Vegas. He was the man that Usian was setting up, and they're saying that he took the final shot. So Dwight Lada Vegas gets the goal, and Usian will get the assist. For Lada Vegas, his 15th goal of the year. And it's all tied up again. 7:55 to go. Well, if you like to see high-scoring games, you've seen one tonight. There's been a little bit of everything in this game. There have been some fine finesse plays. We've seen some outstanding defensive plays. We saw a little pushing and shoving, a little bit of a rhubarb, and tempers flaring for a moment. Seen a couple of power play goals. A little bit of everything.
This has really been quite a week. The Comets get blown out in L.A. on Monday night, come from behind on Wednesday, come from behind last night, go into overtime. We've got a game knotted at 6 with 7.5 minutes to go tonight.
We figured that up here, right? Now this is the 6th time the game has been tied, right?
3 changes in the lead, 6 ties, huh?
Isn't that crazy? Been that kind of a game. Here's Miller, and Elson Seal blocked that one. Now Usian. No one has led by more than 1 goal in this game. And it's all tied up at 6-6.
Would appear now, Don, that fouls will not really play a role here in the final 6:45. The Comets have won Minnesota without an infraction here in the 4th period.
They're on Lettieri again. Look where he is. There's nobody in the goal. He's way out at center now. Nobody behind him. Here's Usian. He's been quiet tonight, and Manny Schwartz just made a nice save on Usian. I say he has been quiet until that last goal. He set it up. He's a great player. Look at that move. Look at that move. Tasso brings it out. Here's the last save on Usian by Schwartz. Nice
right
save.
Foot, yeah.
6 minutes to go now in this game.
Lettieri's almost been creeping in there as though a 6th attacker coming all the way out to the middle stripe.
Etherington in the corner. Fredrickson is on him. Freddie plays it to Schwartz, and they call a foul against Mark Fredrickson. 2nd foul of the quarter for Kansas City. So the restart from the corner by Minnesota. I'll imagine now that they do play Minnesota after this game tonight. That's got to carry over into Wednesday night's game. Etherington out in front, looking for number 8, John Bain. He was dumped by Abrahams. They didn't call anything. Now Freddie will bring it up. There's Twellman. Back to Mark Fredrickson. Charlie Ficus, Angelo DiBernardo, Timmy Clark all sitting this one out because of some minor injuries. They want to be ready to go on Wednesday night at the start of the playoffs. Boris Bandoff also on the bench tonight. Ken Boris put to work, though. He acted as an interpreter earlier tonight when Jack did an interview with Jaramillo. We haven't seen much of Jaramillo, Jack, here in the second half.
I think he has a bruised hip, and
he hasn't been out.
Yeah, he bruised his hip in the 2nd period. He should be all right, maybe probable for the first game of the playoffs.
Wellman plays it to his keeper now with 5 minutes left to go in the game. Abrahams with 2 goals tonight, 22 goals in 23 games. Tabak has shot. Lettieri stopped that one. Abrahams now has 36 points, I believe, Jack, in the last 19 games.
Yep.
Watch this save by Lettieri on Tabak.
Ball comes up, you didn't see it. Caught him right under the chin.
Carey trying to clear it. Lada Vegas kept it in. Now Charlie gets it back. But Greg Thompson controls it.
What a wild 3rd period. I don't think I've ever seen one like that. 8 minutes of penalties and 1 crack.
Yeah. Now the Comets drew a couple of them. Remember the 2 penalties in that Tacoma game in the 1st quarter. Ooh, Twellman trying to follow the shot to get it to his keeper. That was dangerous. Look where Schwartz is. Jan Goossens goes down. He may have been helped down, too. Look out. Oh, Goosens is down. Willie is down. They're both acting. They're not calling any fouls. The two guys laying down in front of the goal. They're playing with three guys back here. I don't believe this. Now what are they saying here?
Hit a shot of it.
I'll tell you something. I don't think either one of these guys are hurt that badly, Jack. The trainer's coming out, and if he tends to them, they've both got to leave the game. That's the rule. Willie may be hurt. Well, we'll take a break and come back. 3:49 left to go in the game. It's all tied up. Now, Willie did twist his knee when he went down, and he may be seriously hurt. I can't believe Goosens is that badly hurt. He just slipped and fell.
Well, he's getting up now. I think he hurt his ankle.
He may have, but he doesn't appear to be there. He's limping on it a little bit. It stopped play, though. The Comets at that point had a 4-on-2 break, and the two players down and injured stopped play. Now you see Goosens is walking just fine, Jack.
Yeah.
Now Willie's hurt. He did twist his knee.
That's why Charlie Carey was so upset down at the other end. They stopped the play as you meant. Now Willie's got a bad knee. You can see it right there.
I'll see if we can watch it again. It's going to be, you see where Schwartz was way out of the net. Now watch Willie right here, number 9. First, that's Goosens right there. Now he's going to he falls down. He may get kicked in the thigh. He goes down.
May have.
Yeah, he did get kicked in the thigh. But now Willie, I don't know if it's going to show on your screen or not. Right here.
Makes the play right there.
Yeah,
got him on the inside of his knee.
Yeah, he twisted the knee. He hurt the knee.
And all Petch was trying to do is clear it away. Fine defensive play, really, and when he followed through with his right leg, it clipped him.
Well, what it did was it stopped play, and the Comets were 4-on-2 break deep in the Minnesota end. All right, here we go again. 3:45 to go. Lettieri throwing long. I'm glad they instituted a new rule 2 seasons ago, that when the trainers come out to tend to a player, the player has to leave the game. Now a fight for the ball here. You see him getting into it with the referee. He's saying it should be... Hey, Billy Gazzona shakes hands with Domovic. He said, I didn't touch it.
Guess who was smiling over there? Jimmy Twelman.
Strikers think they should have had the ball. They're saying that Gazzona's touched it. Well, in any case, it's all tied up. We may be looking at overtime here. 3:42. It would be fitting, I guess, the way this game has gone, to go into overtime. Domovic. Oh, Hudson hits the post just a little bit wide. There used to be at one time a player didn't have to leave the game when the trainer would come out, and they would delay the game. Phoenix, I think, was notorious for that.
Over and over, yeah.
Over and over again. They'd have guys down all the time, constantly slow the pace of the game down. Finally, they said, the trainer comes out, you leave. Petcher's shot that time, just a little bit wide.
Oh, Freddie has really played a great game tonight.
Fredrickson, he's been fired up. Fredrickson on fire. Charlie Carey, Elson Seal off the net. Elson Seal, his second goal of the night. And the Comets lead for the 4th time in this game. Watch it again. Charlie Carey to Seal.
Knocks it down.
And still recovers. He almost didn't get recovered in time. Watch it again. See where Lettieri is way out. Carey gets the ball. He spots Elson in the corner all alone. Elson takes his time, controls it, and then loops it in. Excellent play.
Well, Rick told us at the top of the show he's going to use a lot of players that haven't seen much action. Elson Seal hadn't played hardly any, and in the past several games. He has to be one of the star of the games, Don. That's 2 big goals. 2
big goals for Elson Seal. He now has 6 on the season. Give Charlie Carey another assist. He now has 11. Charlie just made a fine play that time. How he spotted, there you see Alan Merrick, the head coach of this Minnesota team, talking to his team with 3:06 to go. Is he going to pull Lettieri, Jack? It's a 1-goal game. I don't know if
I think he will.
I think he will. I think he knows Cleveland won.
Cleveland won the game tonight.
So he can't finish 3rd anymore.
That's Elson's first 2-goal game since March 1 of last year. What a pleasant young man. It's really nice to see a guy come in that comes off the bench, doesn't get a whole lot of playing time because of all the injuries. 4 of the key players not suited up tonight. and the guy could be the star of the game.
And remember, too, he wasn't on this team at the beginning of the season. He was released. He didn't make the team for the start of the season, and then Pat McBride brought him back. And then 2 days later, McBride resigned. There you see the time of the goal, 11:54.
Parrott is going in.
Yep. Lettieri's on the bench. There he is, and Ozzie, too, has gone to the bench. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm really kind of tired of that whole Parrott act anyway. 3:06 to go now in the game.
Thompson's going to be your 6th attacker in there for Minnesota.
Craig Thompson, number 10, has got the shirt on. You see him with the ball right there. So they're playing without a goalkeeper now, 6 against 5. Thompson, the only man who can go back to use his hands as a keeper. He's the designated goalkeeper. There's a foul call. There you see the empty net. 7-6, the Comets try to ward off this 6th attacker here for 250. Jan Goossens.
Nice play by
out in front. Look out now. Thompson hustling back to that open net as Charlie Carey has the ball. Charlie's played quite a game tonight. In fact, Charlie's been really on fire the last month. He's played well. Goossens now has it. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game. The Comets open the playoffs Wednesday night on the road, either in St. Louis or in Minnesota against this striker team. If the Comets can hang on and win here, and St. Louis would win tomorrow in Wichita, the Comets will begin the playoffs Wednesday night in St. Louis. Thompson hustles back. And the strikers bring it up again.
2 minutes.
2 minutes left to go in the game. Right, Las Vegas.
Oh, you ought to see Mark Fredrickson and Goossens down there in the lower part of your screen. They're just tagging all over the place.
Twellman blocks that shot and kicks it back out to center. They're really packing it in now. They got Goossens down there. They've also got Chris Dangerfield down there. And the defense is just really packing it down in to try to bottle up that movement in front of the goal. Fredrickson staying on Goossens. Freddie right there, and he blocked his shot. Oh, Freddie is all over him like a dollar mop, as they say, huh? Look at that match. Look at him right
Freddie
there.
Is right there, yeah.
Now Twellman on Dangerfield. High scissors kick by Gino Schiraldi. Ooh, that's got to hurt when you come down after you do that, too. Gino right back up again and on Las Vegas. Gino's a bull down in these situations. Schwartz clears it out to center. And now there is 1 minute left to go in this game. 1 minute left to go in the game, and they're all on their feet. All 15,000 are standing for the final minute.
15,417, the second largest crowd of the season. And what a soccer game here tonight.
Dangerfield, a long shot. Twellman blocked that one and clears it out. It won't be on net as Dumovic hustles back to get it. Taubox on him. He'll play it up to Usian. No goalkeeper now. 6th attacker for Minnesota. 30 seconds left to go in the game. The Comets trying to hang on here to a 1-goal lead. Now Thompson is down and he is hurt. He is hurt. Oh, you can see that. He is in pain. Watch the play right here. Thompson fell back on that knee. Oh, that's got to hurt. Petcher came right up behind him and he is hurt. 27 seconds left to go in the game as the clock is stopped, as they tend to a fine player here in Thompson. You see it. Well, now what happens if St. Louis loses? Then they go to Minnesota.
All right,
assuming the Comets win this thing. Have you got it all figured out now?
Well, you know, not really.
No,
you know, there are
you
too many
can't.
ifs down there. I can't see all those ifs. Let's take another look at the play right here.
Petcher came right up behind. Now watch his right leg.
He stretched it out.
Ooh.
All right, now, should the Comets hang on and win, and St. Louis beats Wichita tomorrow in Wichita,
You go to
then
St.
the
Louis.
Comets go to St. Louis. You got it.
And if St. Louis loses,
If Wichita beats St. Louis tomorrow, then the Comets go to Minnesota.
either way, you've got a very emotional game for the obvious reasons with St. Louis, and now because of this game tonight, if you open the playoffs in Minnesota on Wednesday, that's going to be a high-powered game. 27 seconds is what's left in this game.
Personally, I'd love to see him play St. Louis.
I would too. I would too. That seems like the natural thing for him.
Boy, you hate to see a good player like that get hurt at this stage of the playoffs. Now you got to be concerned about Carlos Aguero of the Comets. He re-injured that hamstring, so he's probably going to miss the first game of the playoffs. Aramina, bruised hip tonight. He is probable for Wednesday night.
Just a reminder to join KCTV5's Billy Bliss for health vote reports all this week on Kansas City's news at noon, 5, 6, and 10. Lily will show you what the current health trends are in Kansas City and why health vote matters to you. Now there you see the Minnesota bench looking on with concern. 27 seconds left to go in this game. Here we go. You watch the clock. They'll keep it up there for you. Comets clinging to a 1-goal lead as Dangerfield puts it in the seats. So Manny Schwartz will get a goal kick here. Comets trying to win their 13th game of the year at Kemper. They are 12-11 at home. They're 9-15. They finished on the road. Kansas City's going to take a timeout here. With 25 seconds, Benman doesn't want to make any mistakes. Doesn't want his team to make any mistakes. He and Billy Gazonis want to make a few points. You know, this team, if they win tonight, Jack, would finish at 22-26, which would leave them 4 games under 500. And a lot of people are going to say to you, how does a team, too many teams make the playoffs? I mean, here's a team 4 games under 500, they get in the playoffs. Perhaps so. However, since Ben took over on December the 26th, the Comets are 19-16, 3 games over 500, and among the top 5 in the one-loss department in the entire league. Only 4 teams finished better than that during that same stretch. So if ever a team got a chance to redeem itself because of the playoffs, if that's what the playoffs are all about, and part of it is to give you the team that started out slow a second chance, they have certainly turned it around since their 3-10 season start.
Well, they really have. You talked about the 10 teams. Here's Elson Seals' last goal. You'll see it coming up here momentarily. Now watch him knock the ball down with his right leg, keeps his composure, and then chips it in. As far as I'm concerned, there are 4 superior teams in this league. San Diego, Las Vegas, Baltimore, and Chicago.
And after that,
from then on, you can flip a coin.
That's right. And this team, with their record of 19-16 since Christmas, has to be right up there. They're the 5th best one-loss record. So after the first 13 games, they really have turned it around. They're right up there now with the elite, right behind the 4 best teams, as Jack mentioned in the league. There's no question that those are the 4 top teams. 21 seconds left to go in the game. Kansas City has 4 fouls. That's really not going to be a factor here with only 21 seconds remaining. Here we go. Greg Thompson, the 6th attacker, will bring it up quickly. Fredrickson will run it in. Petcher can't tackle it away. Now Charlie Carey does, and Petcher will clear it. 10 seconds left. This one should be over. They'll get one more crack at it. One more crack at it. Here we go. That's it. Manny Schwartz pounces on that loose ball as the horn sounds. The Comets win it. The Comets have now won 6 of their last 9 games. They win this one in a wild game, 7-6. For Manny Schwartz, his 19th win of the year, and that is a new Comets team record. We'll be back to wrap it up. The final 7-6, Kansas City. Well, the Comets win a wild one here tonight. 7-6 is the final score over the Minnesota Strikers. The Comets have now won 6 of their last 9 games. They finished the regular season with a record of 22 wins and 26 losses. They also finished the home season record at 13-11. Manny Schwartz picks up his 19th win of the year. That's a new team record. Enzo DePede had the old record last season of 18 wins for a goalkeeper in a single season. So now to briefly fit in on what happens here, the Comets beat Minnesota tonight. If St. Louis wins tomorrow in Wichita, then the Comets will open the playoffs in St. Louis on Wednesday. If St. Louis loses tomorrow in Wichita, then the Comets would open the playoffs on Wednesday in Minnesota. Either way, that's going to be a heck of a playoff series with Minnesota in the wake of this wild and woolly game, and certainly with St. Louis in the wake of last year's playoffs and the overtime game last night in St. Louis. Well, Elson Seal tonight, who has seen very limited action this year, had 2 big goals, and he's got the game winner, and he's down on the floor right now with Jack Harry.
Got to be a happy young man, I'll tell you that, Don. It's great, isn't it, Elson?
I'll tell you, it's a great feeling, especially the last game of the season, to come in and and really contribute. It hasn't been easy this season for me, but it's good to see the team winning and be going into the playoffs in an upswing.
We're going to take a look at your winning goal. I want to go back to that third quarter because you really brought this crowd alive. You and Letary, tell our viewers at home what happened.
But basically what happened after I scored a goal, and I was walking away, he elbowed me upside my head. And in doing that, I turned around and I kind of pushed him. And for some reason, I get 2 minutes. I don't know what, but that's not a really good play, for Letary to be doing, hitting people upside the head after a play.
I know you had to be a little frustrated. You weren't getting a lot of playing time. Maybe you proved something to a few people here tonight.
But mostly, number one, I've proved something to myself. I always thought that I could do it. But sometimes it's really hard on the coach because the team is doing well and then you don't want to change things. So, I basically resign myself to the fact that put the team first and I come second, and I've been able to keep a level head that way.
Well, you're a class man. There's no doubt about it. We still don't know who you're going to play on Wednesday night. St. Louis or this team, Minnesota. Is there a preference?
Bring on anybody. I think right now the way we're playing, everybody's playing with a lot of confidence. I don't care who we play. I'm pretty sure that we will win.
All right, buddy. Best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot, Jack.
All right, Elson Seal, what a night he had, Don. Of course, the 2 big goals, and that's really going to be interesting if the Comets end up going to Minnesota on Wednesday night with this whole Letary situation. So I'll tell you what, when they are playing without 4 of their best players tonight, and you get performances like Elson Seal, Coach Rick Benben has to be a very happy man.
Well, he really does, Jack, and Elson tonight just came in and did a great job for him, as has been the case when Elson has been called upon during the course of the season to come in. He has really done a fine job. He's the offensive star of the game, and the defensive star of the game tonight has to be Mark Fredrickson. You saw him make some big defensive plays on Jan Goossens in the closing minutes of this game, but it was Fredrickson's defensive play, if you want to go back to the third quarter, when he made 2 saves in the goal on Goossens for Manny Schwartz, who'd been drawn out of the play, and it was after that that the Comets seemed to come alive and the momentum for Kansas City seemed to turn around in this game. Certainly that's when the crowd got into the game. They really got kind of wild after that. The defensive star, Mark Fredrickson. The offensive star was Elson Seal. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow in Wichita. That is really the story here. Depending on what happens tomorrow, the Comets find out who they play. And as Jack and I mentioned several times in this telecast, you got to think they really want to play the St. Louis Steamers, although Elson says bring on anybody, and I guess there's no athlete or coach who will want to admit they prefer to play one team over another. That kind of talk usually backfires on you. As far as the shots on goal in this game are concerned, Kansas City was outshot tonight. 47 shots on goal. These are the unofficial statistics for Minnesota, and 30 shots on goal for Kansas City. Block shots, Kansas City made 6 and Minnesota made 8, and the saves, Manny Schwartz made 15 saves tonight. Tino Letary also made 15 saves, and the Comets win it by 7-6. I never thought, frankly, Jack, that 1 goal was going to hold up in this game, but it did, and it just didn't look like it was going to happen that way.
I'll tell you what, if this is a preview to the playoffs, now this is really going to be exciting with this Minnesota team, because these 2 teams are going to go head-to-head against one another if all those ifs come out. But what a job, as we mentioned about Elson Seal being down on the field tonight. Fredrickson played a solid game. You get the same from Schwartz, but I think one of the key things throughout this season has been the play of everybody off the bench, because everybody is basically a contributor.
Yeah. Mikowski tonight played a very solid game. He was in there. Tim Clark was not playing, and you watch Mikowski here score this goal with his right foot. That was a wild goal because you could see the defense was caught by surprise. He's notoriously a left-footed kicker, and there you see him with the typical Mikowski celebration. That then looked like the Comets were going to be in good shape, but they needed to have even more than that before they could go on to win this game.
Well, it's been a great turnaround for this team, as we mentioned throughout the telecast, because everybody had more or less counted them down and out. They had some front office problems. Of course, Pat McBride resigning, Rick Benben taking over. They brought in some new players along the line. They're seeming to get it all together at the right time, and if they're going to put it together, now's the time to do it.
Well, here's the thing, too. You remember tonight, again, they played without 4 regulars, all right? And particularly the keys to the offense in Angelo DiBernardo and Charlie Fike as 2 big offensive players. They played without Timmy Clark, and they win this game over a Minnesota team that had come in here on a 4-game winning streak and had won 10 of their last 14 games. Last night, similar story. They play without 4 regulars. DePayday plays in the nets, gives them a great game. They take St. Louis deep into overtime before they lose 4-3. So the Comets are really playing very well right now. They caught 2 good clubs and played them strong.
because of the versatility of the players.
That's
Take
right.
Mark Fredrickson. Fredrickson's a midfielder. You know, the guy's not a defender. He can go both ways. He made some brilliant saves, I think, and we talked about it during the telecast in that third period that really turned it around down there and got the fans into the game. But that's what's been happening during this current run.
You were just talking about Elson Seal and that little scuffle, so to speak, involving Lettieri, and I wonder if that in many respects didn't turn this game around, or certainly it got everybody pumped up and fired up. Elson running in on the play over Lotta Vegas and driving it home into the goal, and then the pushing and the shoving started after that. Now watch Lettieri. Well, the replay doesn't go any farther than that, but they went after each other, and then Charlie Carey walked away from Lettieri, who cracked him across the back. The one thing about all that is how Manny Schwartz ended up at that end of the field and got himself a 2-minute penalty.
Well, Rick will have a little comment, I'm sure, with Manny Schwartz over that. But you say getting them fired up, it's just like basketball. It's no change in any other sport. A coach will get a technical call, then all of a sudden, you know, if he sees his team's flat, it's not playing well, and that's what the Comets were doing the first half, and they came out in the third quarter and they really fired it up.
How many times have you heard about a coach saying he get himself, or a manager get himself throwing up a ball game just to get his team fired up?
That's right.
That's what happened tonight. Well, it's on to either St. Louis or Minnesota. These kinds of days, I think, can become a travel agent's nightmare because they don't know what plane to put these guys on, what city to send them to, what hotel to put them in. It's too bad that they had to go without the 4 guys last night in St. Louis, because could they have won that game in St. Louis, the playoffs would have opened here.
Well, I think the biggest concern right now down in the dressing room is going to be Carlos Aguero.
Yeah.
He re-injured that hamstring. He probably will not play on Wednesday night. One of the key performers in this attack, a young man from Yugoslavia, 22-year-old Damir Haromina, had a bruised hip, and we're not sure what his status is going to be, but it looks like Schwartz came out of the game in good shape. That's one of the key players going to be down the line in the playoffs, and I think the Comets are ready.
I think they are too, and again, you point out the versatility of their players. The bench has really done a job for them, and that's so key, I think, in sports. You've got to have some help from those reserves.
Well, you've got to have a coach that's willing to let some of those players get out and show what they can do, and we saw it tonight in Elson Seal. He told me he was really frustrated. I mean, he's a fine young man. He believes in what the coach says, but a lot of these guys want to have that opportunity, and I think Rick Benben has given them that opportunity to try to prove themselves.
Well, we shall see what we shall see. The playoffs begin Wednesday night in either St. Louis or Minnesota. That's the story tonight from Kemper Arena here in Kansas City, where the Minnesota Strikers lose to the Kansas City Comets. 7-6, the final score. The Comets win it. This KC TV5 Sports Exclusive has been brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Texaco, makers of Haviland Motor Oil and other top quality automotive products. And by the Jones Store Company and Levi, America's favorite jeans since 1850. The executive producer for tonight's game was Roger Hull. Our producer-director was Art Salazar. Now for Jack Carey, this is Don Fortune saying thanks for joining us in the final game of the regular season. Comets win at 7-6. Good night, everybody, from Kemper Arena.